Well, we are back again. We don't give up easily, do we? Oh my gosh. So, if you were in the part one phase of this, we covered a lot of ground. And now I'm just going to be jumping in and resuming kind of where we ended when the internet went out. We've had some real bad storms with high winds coming through this area. And I have a backup internet as well that went out. And I thought that this was pretty much bulletproof, this 5G network. And lo and behold, I kind of jinxed myself. No sooner had I said, "Hey, maybe the internet might go out or something like that," and sure enough, it did. So I'm not going to say anything more about the internet during this second phase, where I'm hoping we'll be able to finish this up. And anyone that's not able to return, I understand. But this machine again is a 1963 19E powered by a 1 amp motor. And it's owned by Michelle, a local gal. And I don't even remember where we were at. I'm just totally befuddled. But hopefully it holds out. And Susie from Minnesota had sent me a text real quick and said, let me get into this shot here. Susie had sent me a text real quick and said, maybe you could use the hotspot on your phone, which is a great idea. But my phone again it's not like a 5G phone. It's better than what I used to have, but it's not super high speed. It's got 4G, and to do live streaming, you need a real fast connection. And the idea of using a hotspot was a great plan. I've done that a couple times for Netflix, but when you're talking about live streaming this, the upload speed you need has to be really fast, and my phone would not do it, unfortunately. So we're going to resume where we kind of ended off the last time, and I'm going to see if we can get this second phase done, maybe, hopefully, and then we'll wrap this up. We'll wrap this up and see if we can have success the second time around. We'll see. We'll see. So what I was getting ready to do when the internet went out before is I was getting ready to see if we could do some stitching on this frame, not using the double needle. The double needle is it's still kind of a thing that's being developed. It's still kind of a thing that's being developed. So it's not where it's going to be eventually. It's not where it's going to be eventually. So real quick, covering this setup again. Covering this setup on this machine is we're running with a standard dual duty XP thread. I've got a 9014 Schmetz needle in there. And we're using, in the bobbin case, we're using this fancy embroidery thread, multicolored embroidery thread. See if the camera will focus on that, hopefully. There it is. So you never know what color you're going to get. It's kind of like Baskin Robbins with thread. It's got all kinds of different threads intermingled in it. So they'll be kind of fun to see what that does as far as a lock stitch on this frame that we're going to try to put in. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to be smarter than I was before. Instead of taking the pressure foot attachment off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pressure foot out, the pressure foot pressure out by pushing this little tab right here. And now what I can do is I can slide this frame underneath, which I should have done in the first place. I can slide this frame underneath carefully. When you do it, be careful you don't catch the needle so that you don't. I'm going to make sure that needle is all the way up so that I'm less likely to bump that needle and bend it. So kind of just grab this, kind of slide this underneath so that it doesn't catch that needle. There we go. Okay, I think I did that right. Now we're going to reapply our pressure foot pressure. Kind of just pinch these two together. Right here, you push here, and you push here. So now we have pressure foot pressure again. Make sure my threads are positioned correctly. There we go. And because we're not using a double needle now, we're using a single needle, we don't necessarily have to use that slow gear, but I might use it anyway, just so that I have a little bit more control as I'm trying to navigate around these turns. First of all, though, I'll get my take-up arm all the way up. There we go. Angle the camera down a little bit more so we can see a little bit more what's happening down there on the material, which again is going to be a canvas material. I explained in the first live stream, these are available at the Dollar Tree. And it's a great way to do a project, especially if you put this fun colored embroidery thread in the bobbin and put this frame in upside down like it is right now. It's going to give you the ability to stitch something that looks kind of cool. And it gives you an opportunity to validate the interest of that young person right away in trying sewing by putting something up on the wall right away. You know what a big deal it is when you do something as a young person. If you get a good report card or something like that, it goes up on the fridge or it gets displayed somewhere else, and everyone knows that you've done a great job. Well, this can go in grandma's sewing space or mom's sewing space or auntie's sewing space or whatever as an immediate validation of that young person trying sewing, and they've created something that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? All right, so let's give this a try again. See if I have a little bit more success using a standard needle versus that double eye needle by Schmetz. And we'll give that another try. We haven't given up on this double eye needle, but I think that we need to come up with some different methods and certainly using more compatible thread than embroidery thread. Maybe that'll be the trick that we need. Okay, so let's give us a try. We'll just sew around this a little bit, and then we'll look at the other side to see what kind of art we created. And just as easily, a young person could do the same thing. All right, here we go. So you see the benefits right away of that slow gear. I'm able to take my time. I'm able to navigate around corners very nicely. There's really no stress of, oh my gosh, I need to make this turn. We can just make the turn very, very easily, and we're able to get around that material very nicely. So to get this frame back out, I'll be smart again. I'll release this presser foot pressure. Just hit that little button, raise my presser foot up, and then I'll raise it manually. I'm also needing to make sure that that needle is nice and clear of that material so we don't catch it. We don't want to bend that needle inadvertently. I'm going to push this up right now. Again, I've got complete control over this right now and being able to raise or lower this, so I have plenty of clearance to get that frame out. Just need to watch that needle tip as I bring it by. Okay, I got it clear of there, I think. Go ahead and give this a clip. Give this a clip on top, and then we'll see what we kind of created. Nothing super crazy fancy, but just something fun that a child or a child like me might enjoy trying to take on and doing a fun little project. And again, when you're working with embroidery thread, you've got to make some tension adjustments to accommodate for the thread, because this type of thread is going to interact differently with the machine than a standard Coates and Clark type thread. Embroidery thread is just a different beast, isn't it? But just doing a little bit of a fun sew off, you can see that we made something that I think a child, I mean, I'm a child at heart, and I think a child, if they created something like this, and certainly we didn't sew very long, did we? We didn't sew very long, but a child could have fun with a project like this, doing something with grandma or mom or auntie or whoever, or uncle, whoever's going to do it with them, and they could create just a little tapestry picture using this fun embroidery style thread. And again, certain tension adjustments. We look at the other side. This is going to be the equivalent of our top stitching, because we had this inserted like this in the machine, didn't we? And our top stitching as well turned out very, very lovely. But this is the side that we want to show. This is the side that child, or a child at heart, is going to be really, really tickled pink to be able to show what they created using an embroidery thread like this. And we tried this on the first live stream, doing this with a double-eyed needle. Probably not a real good choice. I should probably, if I try that again, I'll probably go with a double-eyed needle, but I'll use the same type of thread in the bobbin case instead of an embroidery thread like this. So we'll have thread compatibility throughout the machine if we give that double-eyed needle a chance again, which we will. And again, a message to our friends at Schmetz that are following us on Facebook and on YouTube. We're not saying that the double-eye needle is a bad needle, not at all. But you got to set it up for success, just like anything else. But your single-eyed needle, your 9014 Universal, did a really good job with this, and this will be a fun project potentially. And then you get done with it, you write the child's name, that maybe the date that you did this, and you hang it on the wall right in grandma's or grandpa's or uncle's or auntie's or whoever's sewing space, as a reminder of when you sat down with that young person to get them excited about the possibility of sewing. Yeah, just a little fun project. Get a little bit closer so you can see some of that stitching. I'm going to shut that LED light off for a second. Well, maybe it's too dark now. It's too dark with it on. It's too bright with it on. So anyway, you get the idea. Yeah. So just a thought. You can, we're always looking for projects to do with kiddos, especially if the weather's bad, like we've had in this area, high winds and rain and sleet and everything in between. Just gives you a new project. And again, the immediate validation, especially with our young people today, is so critical. So if you're able to do a project like with this, with them, you can put it on the wall straight away. It's already framed. So it's a great option. It's a great little fun thing to do with them. Okay. All right. So we can continue using this embroidery thread, but I think what I'm going to do, again, setting us up for success, and it also is a great teaching moment as well, is I'm going to go ahead and take this colored bobbin thread out, and we'll go ahead and substitute it with a regular Coats and Clark thread. Again, compatibility of thread. This is a really fun thread to try, like the what we just did with that canvas. But I think we'll set this to the side for right now, and we'll put in a regular Coats and Clark thread for the remainder of this this live stream, part 2. Live stream part 2. And again, when you're putting the bobbin in, make sure that thread is coming underneath the bottom. Get it into there, slide it into that slat, get it all the way underneath that tension spring. All the way underneath that tension spring. Till you hear it kind of click in place. And what I might have to do now is, because this standard Coats and Clark XP thread is going to be a little bit heavier than that embroidery thread, I can feel by the pull right now on that thread coming out of the bobbin that it's a little bit too heavy. It's a little bit too heavy for this thread. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off that screw a little bit. That regulates the tension. Again, on this bobbin case, the right larger screw is going to be for adjusting tension. The one on the left is going to be a set screw. It's going to be a set screw. Okay. You know what else I should do real quick before I forget to do it is I should reassert our presser foot pressure again before we do our next sew off, So I'm going to pinch these two together and lock that into place again. So we have pressure foot pressure. Otherwise, yeah, some interesting things will happen. So I'm going to turn this counterclockwise, this larger screw, to reduce the drag on that a little bit. Again, the bobbin case is going to define the top stitch, and you do need to turn this up when you're working with embroidery thread. But now that we have that embroidery thread out of there, we need to adjust this again. That feels just about right. Again, the drag or the resistance that you want is going to be right around 3 to 5 ounces. And that feels right about spot on. So we'll go ahead and reinsert this again now. Listen for that little click as you're putting it in. We'll go ahead and manually rotate our needle down to draw this thread up. And it seems real basic. I know it almost seems rudimentary, but make sure as you're turning that balance wheel to draw the thread up that you're turning it towards you. Okay, so you can draw that thread up. And not miss it like I just did. Let's try that. Part 2 of bringing the bobbin thread up. It pops up beautifully, but you have to grab it in the appropriate place with your shears. There we go. I think I almost got it this time. This is going to be one of those days where nothing will probably go very easily for us. All right. So we've got that to the rear now. We've got this reset up again. We applied our pressure foot pressure again. Again, important to remember if you do that so that you have pressure foot pressure. Otherwise, you're going to get some real bad outcomes on your machine. All right, let's do some more sewing with this machine before I lose internet again. Let's do some more sewing. And I'll just show you what we've already done off camera. Give you an idea of what we did off camera, what I did off camera. 2 layers of saddle grade leather. Beautiful sew off on there. And again, it's important that people know that if they have Swedish beauties and they're optimized, they can stitch through that much leather very, very easily, probably about 6 to 8 ounces of leather. And I've already done a sew off on here as well with a single layer. That was 2 layers. 100% cotton. Denim. Denim is a popular sew off for most folks when they're doing sew offs. And just standard cotton here. So I'm going to throw these to the side. That's what we did. Now we're going to see what we can do. Now let's see what we can do. So let's see here. Angle that down just a little bit more. And yes, I am using a different way to hold the camera right now. I tried that boom thing. I tried the clamp thing as well that Emma sent me, but it wouldn't stay on the table. It kept sliding even when I put non-skid things and everything. So I just went back to the basics. Going back to the basics is sometimes the best thing to do sometimes. You know what I mean? All right, so let's do some stitching on this stuff now. We might as well, since we've had some challenges with internet and otherwise, and battling the proper setup for this double needle, we'll go to some genuine elk hide. We'll give this a go first. I think I'll lay down a zigzag going down at the start. It's a little bit easier to see a zigzag on a material like this. So what I'm going to do to adjust the machine for sewing, come over to here. This is going to be our needle position on the machine right here. Left needle, right needle, center needle. When you have it set on zigzag, this is not going to react properly. Right now, because it's set on straight stitch all the way on 0, if we move needle position, we get a proper response from this. But if you're set on zigzag, this is not going to respond properly, the needle position. So since we're going to do a zigzag now, we're not going to worry about needle position. We'll go ahead and move this over to, why don't we move it over to about 3? Move it over to about 3. We'll set our stitch length. This is our stitch length right here. We'll set that on 3 as well. This is our reverse. And again, on the E series machines, the 21E and the 19E, it's going to have a two-stage reverse button. In other words, when you push this in on the E series machines, the 21E, the 19E, you're going to be able to push this in and up a little bit, and it will actually lock in place. So that reverse is locked in place. On the other green machines, when you push it in, you've got to hold it in. They decided when they came out with the machines, late 1950s, early 1960s, they changed this from a single stage reverse to a double stage. And then you just push it back in and down a little bit, and then this will go ahead and release out again so that you're no longer sewing in reverse. Okay? But this is a two-stage reverse. It's important you know that. Stitch width, feed dog drop down here. You turn this clockwise, and you can drop the feed dogs. You turn it basically all the way down to the 6 o'clock position, and then you turn it back up to the 12 o'clock position so the feed dogs are fully engaged. So down to 6 for free motion quilting, back up to 12 for standard sewing. Stitch width is what this control is right here. And then this little metal tab, you can kind of see it right there. That little metal tab is for buttonholes. I never, ever, ever use it, but that's what it's designed to do. It basically is a staging process where you can do the buttonhole in different stages by pushing this down. It sews it, pops back up, you push it again, sews the next stage, etc. Stitch length again, two-stage reverse, needle position. That's it. It's a very easy machine to navigate from a user standpoint, and that's why people love these green machines. They're generally fairly easy to figure out. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Let's do a zigzag. Again, we're using standard Coats & Clark thread now. We're not using anything fancy, and we're using a standard Schmetz Universal 9014 needle. So we kind of have gone back to the basics. I started out on the earlier live stream, really kind of crazy and extreme. We're sewing canvas. We're using embroidery thread. We're using a double line needle. We're back to the basics now, back to the basics, which is a good place to sometimes be, isn't it? All right, so let's give this a go, and we'll see how this machine does with a standard zigzag going down this genuine elk hide. Okay, here we go. It just makes it look so ridiculously easy. It makes it look so ridiculously easy. Wow. All right, let me give this a clip and I'll show you this stitching right away. Again, I don't know if we're going to have another internet drop, so we'll get as much in as we can before we run into any technology issues. Hopefully we don't. So just a standard zigzag, you look at it from the side, you're looking at probably about 4 or 5 ounces of leather. Beautiful, beautiful zigzag stitching going all the way down. I'll see if I can bring it nice and close to the camera. Maybe this angle is going to be best. So a beautiful zigzag going down this single layer of genuine elk hide. Not really a challenge for this 1-amp machine that belongs to Michelle. And if we look on the back, that's kind of gross. I don't know what that is. Got like a little, we'll throw that to the side. We at the back, we've got a beautiful lock stitch as well. Kind of have to pull it out a little bit almost to get it to show up on camera. But it's because of the thick nap on this elk hide. It kind of masks that stitching, and we have to kind of pull it back a little bit, don't we? But a beautiful lock stitch as well on this genuine elk hide. So I'm going to throw this to the back, and we'll move forward confidently and quickly so we can get as much in, before we have another potential glitch with our internet. Now, here's 2 layers of this genuine elk hide, probably about 8 to 10 ounces of leather. And this is what we're going to do next. But before I do that, let me do a straight stitch down this genuine elk hide, the single layer as well, because I know otherwise I'll probably get notes from people saying, why didn't we do a straight stitch on it? So I'm going to go ahead and get this back into position again, get our take-up arm all the way up. There we go. And now all I'm going to do to go back to a straight stitch is I'm going to take our stitch width right here, and I'm going to take it back down to 0, like so. I can use our stitch length right where it's at on 3, but I might make it just a little bit longer. I'll go to right around 3 1/4. 3 1/4. You can kind of see that in the shot there. Okay, so let's do this next sew off on the same elk hide, and this time we'll lay down a straight stitch instead of a zigzag. All right, here we go. And again, one of the factors when you're sewing leather is going to be presser foot pressure. We did reapply the presser foot pressure, but again, as you're changing a wide field of materials, you might need to increase this more. And again, the way we're going to increase the presser foot pressure is the higher this little point is on top right there that I'm touching, the more pressure we have. So I'm going to rotate this just a little bit more towards me to increase it even a little bit more. And again, I'm rotating this little disc right here down here, rotating this towards me. And you'll see that this stem will go further up. It's compressing that spring more, and we're going to get more presser foot pressure, okay? Because if you don't have enough presser foot pressure, if the material is a little bit slippery, or if you're dealing with multiple layers, what you're going to get is you're going to get a little bit of a compression of that stitch length. In other words, the stitch is not going to be as full and as robust as it would be otherwise. And that's kind of what we got on this sew off, is the stitch is a little bit stubbier, but I'll show it to you nonetheless. All right, almost got it. Camera's thinking about focusing. There it is. So we got a beautiful straight stitch, but it's a little bit stubbier. And granted, we were not on the fullness of the stitch either. We turned it down to, what did we turn it down to? About 3 1/4 instead of 4. 4 would be our max. And then we would get even a more full, more beautiful straight stitch. I'm also seeing that we might need to, if we were sewing a ton of this elk hide, we might also want to look at bumping our upper tension down a little bit to get more definition out of our top stitch. Our top stitch is good, but it could be better. It could even be better. But again, elk hide is a tricky material to sew because it's chemically treated. It's chemically treated. Look at that nap. That nap is just like a bad hair day, isn't it? That nap is like a bad hair day as we're trying to look at those stitches. And I've got to literally take them like this and pull that nap back so we can try to get a glimpse of that straight stitching we just did. But there we go. Now we can see some of them. There they are. There they are. They're kind of buried in the nap of that leather. They're buried in the nap of the leather. You have to kind of pull it way back in order to expose some of those stitches. Even when we do that, the nap is so dense, it almost kind of conceals them, doesn't it? Well, we got a beautiful result from this. I'm going to throw that to the back. Again, I'm going to try to keep us moving forward in case we lose internet again. And what we're going to do now is we're going to bump it up. We're going to bump it up. We're here to bump you up. And we're going to be doing 2 layers of genuine elk hide now. Again, I want to dispel the myth that just because these Swedish beauties are sleek and sexy and all of that stuff, they're still very, very strong workhorse machines when they're running at the top of the game like this one is now. So we're going to be going through about 8 to 10 ounces of genuine elk hide using this 1963 Viking Husqvarna 19E. I almost said 19E special, but it doesn't have that cam adjuster on the back like the 19E specials do. And one thing I want to clarify, since I believe the owner is in the live stream right now, the owner was really excited. Let me get these into position. The owner was really excited when they dropped the machine off and said to me, hey, guess what? I'm going to bump that up even a little bit more. Guess what? We have the original certificate. We have the original certificate. Hold on a second. What I'm doing right now is I'm I'm feeling the resistance, realizing that we're going to be doing 2 layers of genuine elk hide now. I'm feeling the resistance on the presser foot to make sure we have enough downward pressure. And it feels like we do. The ideal situation, if you're sewing this much leather, is to have a walking foot or a roller foot. A roller foot would look something like this. It's all metal, and it's got metal rollers in the front and the back. It does a brilliant job of feeding leather, but we're going to be doing a variety of other sewing as well, so I don't have one of those on right now. Or you can always look at adding something like this. That would be a walking style foot. That will give you even better increased feed as well. But we're going to focus on just using a standard presser foot attachment like most people would be using, and then we'll make some subtle adjustments on tension and also on presser foot pressure to try to get the outcome that we want. Oh, I noticed. I was talking about the certificate. Let me grab that real quick. So this is the guarantee certificate, Viking Husqvarna approved sale locations. And you can see this one was from the original owner, somebody by the name of Peter. And it shows the date of the machine as March 18th, 1964. You can kind of see it right there. March 18th, 1964. So you're saying to me, Scott, you said it's in 1963, and that is correct. It wasn't uncommon that the machine would be manufactured in the year before, and then the machine would be shipped from the factory to the distributors or the approved sales locations in the US. And sometimes up to a year would elapse before that machine was on the sales floor at that location. So this machine was made in 1963. I know that from verifying the serial number, which is right inside of the faceplate, right in this area right here. It's kind of hard to see it a little bit, but it's right on this area right here. If you ever want to check where your serial number is on your Swedish Beauty. So this would have been sold in 1964 to Peter somebody over in Stockbridge, Wisconsin, but it would have been manufactured in Sweden at the Husqvarna factory a year prior in 1963. So that's just the reality. The same thing happens when you're buying a car, right? You might be buying a car in 2024, but the car was in all likelihood made in 2023, or maybe even a little bit earlier, because there's that time delay of getting it from the point of production to the point of sale. So, but this is really cool when you have this provenance material, so you can track it back to when that machine was bought new by Peter back in 1964. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to try to go through these 2 layers of genuine elk hide. I hope I have enough presser foot pressure. Let's see. I might also bump us up a little bit and give us a little bit wider zigzag. We're going to go up to just about 3.5, I think, on the stitch width. You can see that right there. And what I usually try to do is I'm doing a sew off is if I'm doing 3.5 on the stitch width, then I'll try to mirror and match it with 3.5 on the stitch length. So we're right about there, 3.5, 3.5 there as well. So let's give this 2 layers of genuine elk hide a try with our stitch width on 3.5, our stitch length on 3.5. And I'm going to roll the dice here. I probably should use my little clips to hold this leather so that it doesn't pivot and switch and slip out of the way. But I'm gonna be dangerous and just see if I can hold it and steer it a little bit more. As a matter of fact, you know what I could do is I can employ my slow gear, and then I can have a little bit more control over how fast this is feeding by ratcheting down that speed. We'll do that. I'm going to go ahead and pull out that slow gear, and we will try to stitch as straight as I usually stitch, which isn't very straight. All right, here we go. Let's give this a try. And I'm not going to give it a hand start. Matter of fact, I'm going to change the angle a little bit so you can see that I'm not going to give it a hand start. We're just going to employ that 1 amp motor with that slow gear and see if it gives us enough get up and go to go through these 2 thick layers of elk hide. All right, here we go. And I'll stop real quick and just say, if you heard a click, the click is that gear shift down. Think of it like shifting a car that's a standard transmission. Some of you might be young enough, you've never driven a car with a standard transmission where you have to actually have to shift it. But the way the Swedish Beauties work is when you employ that slow gear, it gears the machine down almost like a 10-speed bike, so that we're in a different gear ratio, and it takes that machine again from full speed all the way down to 1/5 of the normal speed. And a little tip or trick is, when you've had that slow gear employed, before you try to move the balance wheel, go ahead and disengage that slow gear. It'll free up that gear reduction, and then the balance wheel will move freely. So I'm using the slow gear. Now I can rotate the balance wheel easily, pull that material out, and we'll take a look and see what we did as far as stitching. Eventually, I'm going to have to get my Gutenheim scissors out and try that on cutting some of this material. That'll be fun. Okay. Yeah, some real pretty looking stitching. Very, very nice stitching. But again, as you're switching between materials, you might have to make some subtle adjustments on tension. And what I'm seeing on the back side of this material is I've got our upper tension right now down pretty low based on how I have the machine set up. I do that sometimes to give the customer a little bit more range option in adjusting tension as they're sewing different materials, so that we don't have to be all the way up on 7 or 7.5 or 8. We're all the way down right now on a little bit below 4.5. You can see that. And as you're sewing leather of this thickness, you might have to bump this up, because it's always harder to define that lock stitch. We're looking at that lock stitch right now. All in all, we've got a good looking lock stitch. If you look at that closely, I'll turn it like this as well. But as you're going across this leather, you might see certain points where that lock stitch is weaker, or it's not pulling up hard enough to pull that thread all the way back through this these very, very two thick layers of genuine elk hide. The top stitch is actually as it should be, but we might have to make a subtle adjustment on adjusting that lock stitch by bumping this up a little bit higher. And if we sew down this leather again using a straight stitch, that's probably what I'll do, is I'll go ahead and bump up that upper tension so we can get even a better defined lock stitch. But right now we've got a beautiful zigzag through some very, very thick genuine elk hide. Again, about 8 to 10 ounces of elk hide. And I think I heard my phone go off a little while ago. Let me take a look at that real quick, and then we'll make another sew off with a straight stitch on this. Oh, that was a text from Michelle, the owner of this 1963 Husqvarna Viking, and she just said, "Thank you!" exclamation point, and then she wrote, "I'm in the process of getting my granddaughter ready to go home, so I'll watch both videos this afternoon." So, and that's fine and dandy. Folks are busy on the weekend. They've got little ones over visiting as well, and so our owner is very busy right now and not able to be in the live stream for this second attempt, as we hope our internet holds out. And so she's going to check it out later. Yeah, cool. All right, excellent. So we're going to keep marching forward now, but I'm going to remember to do something before we march forward to our next attempt to sew a straight stitch down these two layers of very thick genuine elk hide. You can see what we're working with there. That's a lot of leather, folks. That's a lot of leather. Look at from the end as well. Push that up a little bit. We need to remember to bump up our upper tension just a little bit, accommodate this thicker sew off of leather. So I'm going to go ahead and bump it up just a little bit. We're right around, like we're a little bit below a 4.5. I think we were. We'll go all the way up to 5. Go all the way up to 5. on our upper tension. So we just made a slight adjustment. We bumped this up from about 4.5 to 5. Hopefully that's enough. Otherwise, we could always adjust it further in doing another sew off. But right now, we're going to change ourselves from a zigzag over to a straight stitch. We'll leave this, yeah, I think 3.5 is pretty good. We go up to 3.25. We'll go almost to max. So we're right around 3.25 now. And we're going to take us out of the zigzag mode. So we'll go from about 3.5 all the way back down to 0 again. Again, 0 is going to give you a straight stitch. Anything between 1 and 4 is going to give you a zigzag. So we're down on 0, 3.5 there. It could go higher. We'll leave it there for now. We're not going to change needle position. We'll leave it right on the center point. And now we're going to give this sew off a chance again as we get ready to do these 2 layers of genuine elk hide. Again, not a light sew off at all, but you can see depending on where they cut the leather from the hide of the elk, this top piece is going to be quite a bit thinner, isn't it? It's quite a bit thinner than this bottom section. Look at the dramatic difference. And that's where when you're doing sew offs in that, you have to kind of take note of that. This is like a belt on the bottom, and this is quite a bit thinner on top. And it all depends on where they take that leather from the hide of the animal when they're cutting it. And I don't want to offend anybody if you're pro animals. I am too, absolutely. And I don't know how this leather was harvested, hopefully from an animal that passed away. They found an elk that passed away, and that's where this leather came from. We really don't know, do we? We really don't know. But I do love animals. I love elks as well. And just want to mention that. Anyway, so let me get this back into position. We'll try to go down this leather one more time. I'm going to be adventurous and try to go down the inside track, which is a little bit more narrow. It's also going to be a little bit thicker than the outside track. Get this into position. Get that presser foot down. Just verifying again that we have presser foot pressure. That's an important thing. And we might bump it up just a little bit more. I'm rotating the disc towards me to increase the pressure. Okay, we got some good pressure down now. So let's give this a try again. Let me know. I haven't asked any of you for input. Should we try stitching this narrow little alley down here on regular speed or with the slow gear? Regular speed or the slow gear? You let me know, and I'll be willing to take it on as a challenge. Either way. So we can either go slow gear or we can go regular speed going down these 2 layers of genuine elk hide. I'll look at the live chat and see what folks are saying, and I'll grab a quick drink of my Diet Coke as well. And again, my thanks to any of you that were in the initial live stream when we lost internet, and that you came back to watch this second attempt to present this incredible 1963 Husqvarna Viking 19E from 1963 again. So thank you to all of you that persevered and came back after we lost connection. Oh, and it looks like we gained a couple of folks as well. Some new folks. It looks like Mesa Group is here. Bill from Minnesota. And again, a happy belated birthday to Bill's daughter, Lisa, who we posted on Facebook wearing one of Susie's. Susie also is from Minnesota. We showed Lisa, or Lisa took a selfie of herself wearing one of Susie's really cool cow country custom hats. Oh, and hello to Favored One as well. Favored One was not in the initial one that I recall. See if there's anybody else that we picked up that was different. I'm just scrolling real. Yeah, I think all the other folks were in the first one. Mess Group was not. Favored One was, and all the other folks that I mentioned in the earlier live stream were part of that initial live stream before we lost connection. Yeah, I couldn't type anything else at the beginning of the live chat other than let's try this again. If you saw that when you first joined the live stream, if you scroll all the way up, that's all I typed was let's try this again. It happens. All right. So I'm going to look at the live chat, just see what folks are saying. Regular. It looks like regular. Try regular and see how it performs. Candido said that. High speed. No fear. I like that. I like Candido. Candido said, high speed, no fear. So we're going to try to buzz down this a little bit quicker. And again, we're not using a leather needle. We're not using a leather needle. We're using a Schmetz universal needle, one like this. It's a 130 by 705H, blah, blah, blah. This is the one that we actually have in the machine right now. And universal needles, again, are designed to be able to accommodate a wide field of materials, which is perfect for us on live streams since we tend to bounce around between different materials. So we will try to buzz down this. I'm not going to go full pedal to the metal, but I'll go a little bit faster and just try to keep it on course as best as I can. All right, so here we go. 2 layers of genuine elk hide. We're going to be laying down a straight stitch with a length of about 3.5. And hopefully using a universal needle, we don't have any skip stitches because that can happen without that sharp serrated point on the end of the needle. And real quick, let me just show you something. Susie also sent this to me. It is a wonderful pocket guide by Schmetz. She sent this with a number of other goodies around Christmas time of last year. And the pocket guide covers all kinds of Schmetz related things and needle anatomy, I believe, as well. Does it show the needle anatomy on this? I don't know if it does. I was going to describe the needle anatomy if it has it in here. Maybe it's in the back. No, it doesn't look like it shows the specific needle anatomy, apart from talking about the different needle types that Schmetz makes, everything from the stick needle to stretch needles, universal needles. Let's just focus on this one. Universal needles that Schmetz makes right here. And it's talking about the different sizes they offer. It's talking about how they color code them to make it easily identifiable. Different fabrics you can use. Of course, we're not going to follow that guideline. We're going to do all kinds of other crazy stuff with their needles, which I hope they appreciate us doing because we generally have good success doing things that, are not on this list of fabric uses for the general universal type needles. But yeah, the anatomy of the needles is important to understand. The size of the scarf, the depth of the scarf that hook is going to swing by and grab the thread in the sewing process, the type of point that's on it. Recently, we were using those other needles that had more of a ball point, rounded point instead of a sharp serrated point on it. And that all affects your sewing outcome, doesn't it? So universals are usually kind of like the Baskin Robbins of giving you the widest variety of sewing potential because of the design and the anatomy of the needle. So yeah, let's give it a go and see what we get. And again, I will not turn the balance wheel. We'll just go after this. Yeah, no fear, like Candido said, no fear. All right, here we go. Oh, did you see that? We just we sewed a different part, and it's good to see that. I kind of hit the gas a little bit lighter. I was going to launch into it and then increase speed gradually. I didn't give it enough gas. That universal needle hit these 2 layers of leather. Again, look at what it's going through right there on the end. It hit those 2 layers of leather right there. Put my hand there to kind of block it so it focuses hopefully on the leather. There we go. It hit those 2 layers of leather and we stopped. That needle hit it and stopped. So I'm gonna correct that now and give it a little bit more gas as we move forward. And yeah, hopefully I can do that without causing any issues with bird nesting or anything on the bottom. All right, let's try it again. More gas, no fear, like Candido said. All right, here we go. No fear, no fear, just like Candido said. And again, we're sewing through a ridiculous amount of leather using a non-leather needle. And you notice when I showed you that little quick reference that Susie from Minnesota sent me as a special gift, along with all kinds of other fun things, just a ton of needles. You'll notice that on that list, it did not say elk hide as a material that they would recommend that we be sewing with a universal needle. But we're doing it anyway. We're doing it anyway because, like Candido said, no fear. And we laid down a beautiful, beautiful stitch. Again, we're only set on about 3.5. We're not at the max stitch setting for this Swedish beauty. We could go all the way up to 4. But we laid down a beautiful, beautiful stitch. I should cut my thread first because I'm kind of battling that a little bit right now. Let me go ahead and cut that thread, and we'll be able to have a little bit more mobility as I'm trying to show you this stitching. We'll cut these as well at the same time. So obviously our top stitch right here, we'll kind of look at this going across. Get that straight, reasonably straight. Camera's deciding about focusing right now. And we've got some beautiful, beautiful stitching. Again, we're not using a leather needle. We don't have the benefit of a leather needle right now. We're sewing with a standard universal needle, laying down some very, very good looking stitching, both with the zigzag and also with a straight stitch as well. And again, when you're sewing with a universal needle, you don't have the piercing benefit of what a leather needle would give you. It's a leather needle is going to have a very, very sharp, almost a serrated point on it to cut through, to slice through that leather. The universal needle has a sharp point, but it doesn't have that serrated razor type edge that a leather needle would have. And yet, apart from me starting out kind of wimpy, not giving it enough gas, we're able to get through this leather very, very easily. I've got to remember what Candido said and no fear and just, gas, pedal to the metal, like we used to say, pedal to the metal and get that done very easily. So again, this is what we went through. Top piece, not as thick. Bottom piece, basically like a belt. So we've got a lot of leather here. Now here's the challenging thing is trying to see through this real nappy stuff, trying to see that lock stitch. It's literally impossible because that nap is so thick. I'm trying to press that nap back so we can get a glimpse of that lock stitch from this straight stitch. And boy, is that a challenge. Almost got to kind of give it a haircut, kind of pull that leather nap back. I'm kind of pulling that leather nap back right now. Look at all that stuff. See what that needle had to get through? It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's going to be nearly impossible. That's the beauty of a zigzag is the zigzag is going to stretch that nap out and we're able to visibly see it more easily. When I'm cleaning the wrong section, I'm used to stitching down here. You can tell how befuddled I am by losing internet. This is our stitching up here, Scott. Pull this back. Pull that back, and maybe we can catch more of a glimpse of that straight stitch. There's a little bit of it poking through right there. Some of you are probably saying, why is he giving it a haircut down here? He needs to give it a haircut up here. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. But again, it's really hard to see that, isn't it? Right there, we've got a little bit of it popping through on that top layer. Little bit of it popping through. But again, habits give us almost mental mechanical responses. I'm used to stitching down here, so I'm looking for the stitching down there. It's nowhere to be found. Good thing, because it's not there. But that top stitching is so much easier to see, isn't it? So much easier to see that we just did on this leather. Again, using a universal needle, not using a leather needle. Okay, I'll throw this to the side now because we have a lot more show-offs that I'd like to do before we potentially lose internet again. So what should I do next? What should I do next? I'm going to cut a little bit of this protected full grain leather. See if we can buzz around that a little bit. So this, if you're not familiar with leather types, this is protected full grain leather. It's going to be a little bit on the thicker side than that one layer of elk hide that we just sewed. It's probably going to be right around 3 to 4 ounces with just a single layer of this. And protected full grain leather is coated with a chemical just like elk hide is to protect it from staining and also to make it more durable. Well, as soon as you coat something with a chemical to make it more durable and to make it stain resistant, you raise the piercing threshold up dramatically. So sewing through a single layer of this is enough of a challenge when you're talking about that thickness of leather. That's what we'll do first. But then I'm probably going to cut this in half and add another layer to it, and we'll go through 2 layers of this as well. Again, you're not going to see on that recommended list from this pocketbook from Schmetz, you're not going to see that they recommend sewing protected full grain leather on this little list of materials down here where they're talking about wovens and knits and stuff like that. Wovens and knits. Yeah, I don't think protected full grain leather or elk hide qualifies as a woven or a knit, but we're going to go ahead and sew it anyway. So we'll go down this and do a straight stitch first down this protected full grain leather, and then we'll go ahead and do a zigzag next to it. Matter of fact, we might do a straight and a zigzag, and then we'll add that second layer to it. See if I have another piece cut already. Yeah, it looks like I do. I have 2 layers cut already as individuals, so we'll just go down this and do a straight and a zigzag, and then we'll grab 2 more pieces of protected full grain, and we'll go through it with the 2 layers after that. All right, let's give this a go. And again, I'm going to give it a little bit more gas. I'll be a little bit more courageous and no fear like Candido was encouraging before. All right, here we go. So ridiculously easy. So ridiculously easy. All right, I'm going to lay down a zigzag next to it before I show you the stitching. And then we'll grab 2 more pieces of protected full grain leather. And we'll go ahead and go through those as well. Beautiful stitching. Beautiful. Wow. All right, let's go to a zigzag now. Let's go to a zigzag now. So all I'm changing real quick to do the zigzag is I'm going from 0 on the stitch width, over to, yeah, why don't we go max? We'll be real crazy here. We'll go all the way to 4 on the stitch width, which means we'll match it with the stitch length also all the way on 4. So 4 and 4. So we should get a really, really nice wide zigzag as we're stitching off on this protected full grain leather. Really, really nice wide zigzag to contrast this straight stitch that we just did. All right, I better bring my take-up arm to the highest position. Again, when you're launching, try not to launch down here. Take it all the way up to the top. So it's getting ready to go on that downstroke. Right about there. See that? That'll give us a free up of, or a freeing up, I should say, of the mechanics of the machine so that it's got the greatest likelihood of being able to deliver that stitch and punch through that leather without stalling out like we did initially on that one sew off with the elk hide. All right. Presser foot is down. All right, let's give this a go and see how it delivers on a zigzag, incorporating that needle swing as we go through this 3 to 4 ounces of protected full grain leather. All right, are you ready? Oh, let me angle the camera a little bit more. There we go. Now we're ready. All right, here we go. I'm going to back up my chair a little bit. It's harder to get my foot on that foot controller when I'm too close. All right, let's give this a try again. Here we go. Nice wide zigzag. Nice, beautiful wide zigzag. Oh, that's spectacular. Wait until you see it up close. We'll look at these two stitch rows together. And again, we're sewing with, our setup is a 9014 universal needle. And we've got that Coates and Clark that I pick up at Joann's dual duty XP thread. Nice stuff. Nice general sewing thread. All right, let's check these out now. Our top stitch and our lock and our top stitch for the straight stitch and our zigzag as well. All right, I'm gonna give the camera a second to catch up. There we go. And again, this is not a light leather. This is protected full grain leather. And we've got some beautiful, beautiful stitching there, don't we? Beautiful, beautiful stitching. Straight stitch and the zigzag. And again, this is not on their list of materials that they recommend that we use the needle for. But I think part of the reason that Schmetz is following us on Facebook and on YouTube is because they like that we push the boundaries with their needles. They probably don't like the outcome of that double eye needle thing that we did this morning, but you know what? We'll circle back to that needle again. We'll circle back to that needle again and give it another try, won't we? So totality of the stitching, I'll kind of come out a little bit like this. So totality of the stitching is exactly what we want to be seeing for a page 34 plus stitch. The formation, the integrity of the stitch, the presentation of the stitch, the glory of the stitch, as I like to say. And we got some beautiful, beautiful stitching on Michelle's 1963 Husqvarna Viking 19E. Again, this is not a 19E special. It does not have some of those supplemental stitches that the special added later on in the production phases when they started adding that built-in cam feature. But it does have a beautiful zigzag and a straight stitch and a lot of power, by the way. Let's look at that lock stitch now. And the beauty of the thing I really like about this protected full grain is it's so much easier to see the stitching than on that elk hide. That elk hide is like almost like an afro. It's like an afro on the back of there with that, trying to look at that lock stitch. But on this protected full grain, it's a very lean, clean type nap on the back of there. And it's very, very easy to see the stitching, isn't it? Once the camera focuses, it is. Come on. Focus. Come on. Now it's going to focus. Now it'll be nice. All right, I'm going to do like that real quick. Come back to it. Come back a little bit. Come on. So now we have internet, but now the camera is saying, I don't want to focus on that. I don't want to focus on that. Let's go like this. See if it likes focusing vertically, maybe. See that? All I did was turn the material so it was vertical, and all of a sudden the camera's like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do that. See that? Never give up. Never give up. Sometimes it's just a matter of approaching something a little bit differently, and then all of a sudden you can have success when you're having a challenge before. All right, let's try it like that. Try it on kind of on an angle. Or I can just straighten the camera out. That might work too. Plus, I'm going to see, is that LED light? Can't tell if that LED light is kind of messing around with us on top. I think it is. Just shut that LED off light right above us. I don't know if the camera's going to be able to focus in that lighting or not. Yeah, it did. And it's got a low light feature as well. So maybe I'll shut that light off when we're looking at some of the other stitching. There we go. That's about right. Finally, I have about the right angle, I think. All right, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to stop right there and I'll just hold it still for a second. So we've got some beautiful stitching. This again is our lock stitching on the back. We're using a universal needle. And if you look at the Schmetz guide, they don't recommend sewing leather with those universal needles, but I do it all the time, don't I? So we got a great outcome, some beautiful, beautiful stitching. Once we got the lighting right so that the camera could focus on it, both for the lock stitch and also for that top stitch as well. Lovely, lovely stitching. Beautiful zigzag. All right, let me move that out of the way. I don't want to belabor that any longer. But yeah, camera issues are so much fun. You should be on my end. You should be on my end trying to battle this silly camera sometimes. All right. So what are we going to sew next? Let me show you kind of what our options are. Hold on a second. All right, almost there. So these are our options left right now of what I cut and prepared using my old scissors, not my new scissors. So we've got saddle grade leather right over there. I talked about doing 2 layers of that. We've got our protected full grain leather. We've got our Naga hide. That's our Naga hide right there, our fake leather. We've got this one right here, which I will only sew this with a zigzag and not to make it more difficult, which it will, because we're going to be sewing through a woven material, which is exactly what Schmetz says the universal needles are supposed to be able to sew really, really well, is a material like this that is a woven towing strap. This is basically a towing strap for a car. I think it has a maximum weight capacity of about 2,000 pounds. So this stuff is like sewing patio blocks. And we got some of the bubblegum material. We've got some of this denim. I think that's denim. Yeah, that's denim. Saddle grade leather. We got some of this compressed felt. And then I've got more of this. I should put those together, shouldn't I? More of this. See what leather does? It gets like all, bleh. We got more of this denim and then compressed felt. So these are our options right here. If anyone wants to type into the live chat what you'd like to see me do next, we can do 2 layers of saddle grade, which is all the way over here. 2 layers of protected full grain leather. I think we've already done that, haven't we? No, we've only done a single layer of protected full grain leather. So we could do 2 layers of this, 2 layers of that. We've got the Naga hide, the towing strap, bubblegum material, denim, a larger piece. I was planning on sewing this larger piece around the edges using the slow gear. And then I've got this compressed felt as well. Also back here, I haven't shown this in a really, really long time. I've got some of this nylon webbing type stuff. This nylon webbing stuff is kind of a cool material to try to sew as well. Although being so high in nylon, it really tends to mess around with the stitching. So that's what I have right there. Those are our options right now from what I cut. So if anyone wants to express an opinion in the live chat as far as what you'd like to see next, I can go ahead and sew them in that order, and we can get through this live stream without losing internet again. Yay! That's a good thing. All right, I'm going to look at the live chat in just a little bit. What I'm going to do right now is bring all of our sew-offs together that we've already done so I can show those to you in a little bit. Okay, you pick. Woven material, yellow strap, is Emma saying. How about 2 layers of slippery polyester or silk? Now, Robin, you saw what I've already cut, dear. You saw what I already cut. I don't have any polyester or silk cut. I could cut some just for you. I could do that. I've got a pretty good selection of materials to sew. And Robin, the sweetheart that she is from Minnesota, she's like, well, those are all well and good. But Levi and I were talking. Levi is her beautiful dog, by the way. Robin says, Levi and I were talking. We really like to see some slippery silk or something like that. So because I like Robin a lot, and because Robin proudly, when she goes out on her walks, she wears one of the hats that Susie made that I sent to Robin. I'm going to see if I can find something a little bit slippery real quick that we can stitch off on so that Robin and Levi can go, yeah, yeah, cool. I like it. Me likes. Yeah, I know you're thinking outside the box, but I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like take two of this live stream from Michelle's machine, and I'm trying to get through as much as we can because there's more bad weather rolling in. I don't know if Minnesota is getting hit by some of the weird weather that we are here, but it's a combination of freezing rain. Last night we had really, really high winds, and even today we're having some high winds. On the front of the workshop, I've got a sewing type flag, and that thing was getting beat to death last night. I could hear it when I was in the workshop. It was just getting ripped apart by the wind, and it did suffer some damage. So I'm going to have to mend it. But oh my gosh, the weather we've been getting through these parts for spring, it doesn't feel like spring at all. It feels like, kind of like the middle of fall or something like Wisconsin. So I don't know if Minnesota's getting the same thing, but my goodness, we've been getting some really, really weird, dicey type weather out this way. All right, let me see what I can find. Let me see what I can find. I don't know that well, maybe I do. Hold on a second. That's cotton. Let's see what I can find here in the realm of silk. Okay, here's what I'm going to do, Robin. Here's what I'm going to do for you, Robin, is I'm going to grab some satin. Now, satin is not silk, but it is real slippery stuff. This is actually from a satin pillowcase. You can see it right there. So we will go through 2 layers of satin for Robin that is thinking outside of the box. And that's okay. I always say it all the time. This is our channel. So I value the input. I just have to cut it real quick. And I'm going to have to use my maybe I can grab my new scissors real quick. Let me grab my scissors real quick and we'll cut this satin real quick. I'm going to use my new Guggenheim. And if you weren't in the initial live stream that was disrupted because of the internet going out, I picked up these Guggenheim scissors that come in a really fancy box from the owners and everything like that. There they are. We're going to try to cut this satin pillowcase using these new Guggenheim scissors, because I don't think I'd be able to do it with my old ones very well. All right, let's see how we can do with this. Cut a little strip and we'll kind of buzz down this so that we can join Robin in doing something that wasn't scheduled, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. I'm liking you a lot. You Guggenheim guys, you. Oh, that cut's so nice. These cut so nice. Yes, I still have my little tag on there. Again, if anybody wants this little tag, it's kind of fun. You could put it on your keychain or you could attach it to Levi. This could go on Levi's collar as a reminder to always think outside the box. If you want this, Robin, let me know after the live stream and I'll mail this to you. Okay, I'll mail this to you in Minnesota and you can put it on Levi's collar. Yeah, I think that would be fun. Or you could put it on your keychain. Why not? Why not? All right, let me see if I can cut down this other side. Oh my gosh. Guggenheim, you go, guys. Of course, I'm not cutting through all the layers. I don't think I am. Maybe I am. Oh, wow. Hot knife through butter is what those things are doing. Those other scissors would have struggled with this slippery satin stuff. And these Guggenheims, oh my goodness. So I said 2 layers, right? Let's go ahead and do 2 layers. I'll bring this over here. I'm going to cut it with these Guggenheims again. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love these scissors. I didn't look at the live chat to see if anyone else has a pair of these Guggenheim scissors. Boy, they do a great job. So there's 2 layers of that. We'll also do 4 layers just for fun. I think uh, cool scissors review. Yeah. I didn't look at the reviews for these, but like I said, they advertised on the Cow Country channel. Guggenheim was on our channel. They were on our channel. And I thought, hey, they're an advertiser on the Cow Country channel. Why don't we give them a try? Why don't we give them a try? So we're giving them a try right now. We're giving them a live endorsement. And these, oh my goodness, these cut, look at that. I could try to cut the same thing with my old scissors and it's going to be like a nightmare. I'm not even holding this stuff. It's just like, wham, done. Oh, these are nice. See, here's my old ones. I'm just going to set that right there for a second. Here's my old ones. Watch what these do. This is going to be kind of terrifying. So I just stopped right there. I didn't stop because I wanted to. Watch what's happening. Instead of gliding through, it's bunching up on there. It's not even cutting. It's going, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I'm going to throw you guys are retired now. You're retired. You're going to the back. Now I'm going to grab my Guggenheims. Yes. Oh, I love Guggenheims. Yes, I do. You guys keep advertising. And some of our family members from Cow Country will probably buy your really cool scissors. Plus you get a box. Where's my box? Did I lose my box? Where's my box for these? Oh, I moved it all the way over there. We're not using them. You can put them in this really cool box too. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, let's do this so we can be out of the box. We'll be out of the box and try something that Robin wanted us to try, which I think is cool. It's totally cool. All right. So we're going to try 2 layers first. And I'm not going to adjust the presser foot pressure. Not going to adjust it. Very slippery stuff, as Robin had suggested in trying this stuff. So we're going to try to do a wide zigzag on it, which is really kind of crazy. It's really kind of crazy to try to zigzag this stuff because it is so slippery. I'm going to do my best to steer it. I'll do my best. But this stuff, oh my gosh, you should feel it. It feels like, not that I have touched a baby's bottom anytime recently, but it feels, they always say smooth like a baby's bottom or something like that. This is the baby's bottom right here. This silk or satin. All right, let's get both pieces underneath there. There we go. That time I got it. Okay. All right, let's give us, did I get them in there? This stuff is so thin, I can't even tell if it's in there. All right, let's try to do a zigzag on this real slippery satin that Robin wanted us to try. All right, I'm going to take it. You know what? I'm going to use my slow gear. I'm going to use my slow gear so I don't have to try to, yeah. All right, let's give us a try. Okay, slow gear. Let's see how we do on this. Woo! That's a little terrifying. All right. Oh yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Let's take a look at this. This was Robin's challenge. It's kind of a challenge alert. We should have like a little pre-recorded thing saying challenge alert, challenge alert. You might have prepared these sew-offs, buddy, but we're going to give you a challenge alert and see if you can find this other material we want you to try to sew. So before I get totally turned around, I'm going to leave our thread on the lock part of it. I'll clip the one on the top stitch so I don't get turned around too easily. So this is our top stitch that we just did on these 2 slippery layers of satin. I think I got that right. And again, we're using a universal needle, and we're using Coats & Clark standard XP thread. I think that's a beautiful stitch. And I'm glad that Robin challenged us. Robin and Levi in Minnesota challenged us and said, let's do something slippery. Let's do silk. Let's do satin. Let's do something like that. And thankfully, I had this satin pillow cover, and we were able to cut it up with our Guggenheim or something like that, scissors. I better get it right. They're on our channel, for goodness sakes. And laid on a beautiful zigzag down this material. Very, very nice. Yeah, and this is super thin stuff. Turn it over, look at that lock stitch. See if we maintain stitch integrity with the lock. This is our lock now. You know what? I would give that a page 34. And I had not planned to sew something slippery like this. Silky satin, blah, blah, blah. Thank God, thank goodness for Robin in Minnesota saying, challenge alert, challenge alert. Let's do silk, let's do satin. So we did satin. I don't have any silk, sorry. Someone wants to send me silk. We can try sewing silk the next time. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful stitching. And, you know, again, when you're trying to get that knot, you're trying to get that knot centered on something this thin. It's kind of a challenge because there's just no space. There's no space for that thread. But the machine managed it beautifully. This 1963 Husqvarna Viking 19E did a brilliant job. Did a brilliant job. All right, I'm going to look at the live chat and see if Robin is satisfied with that or if she's going to give us another challenge alert. I hope she doesn't tell me to sew alligator or something like that. I don't think I have any alligator right now. I don't think I do, but if someone from Florida wants to send me some alligator to sew, I'll do it. I will. I absolutely will, doggone it. Successful challenge. So Robin says successful challenge. I'm going to set this to the side. Plus, we had a chance to use our new scissors by Guggenheim. That was fun. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to throw this in the pile over there. I really don't need that huge piece, do I? I can get my Guggenheim scissors and cut it down more. So we just have a little bit of a section where Michelle can try stitching down it as well. Oh my gosh. I'm in love with these. These are such great scissors. Oh my gosh. I would have been battling that for weeks with those other scissors. No offense, old scissors that are now retired. But I've got Guggenheims now, baby. I got Guggenheims. Yeah, I do. Ha-ha. Wow. Yeah, this stuff is so, oh my gosh. It's so slippery and so sheer. It's so sheer. You guys remind me we should sew satin more often. We should sew satin more often. We should. Okay. So what's our next? Oh, this stuff is like sticking to me now. Next sew off. Oh, static electricity. What's our next sew off challenge that we're going to try? I'm going to spritz a little bit of this on the floor real quick. We're getting a lot of static electricity. Just don't spritz it right by the foot controller. That'd be bad. It's the only problem in the winter. If you're in a cold climate, in the winter, if you're running something like a heater to supplement the ambient temperature of the room, it tends to get really, really staticky. Really, really staticky. Okay, so what are we going to do next? You guys need to see him again. You see him again? So this is the stuff that we just sewed for Robin, which is falling off now. I'll pick it up later. Then we've got the compressed felt, saddle grade leather, slow gear all the way around. Then we've got this denim, bubblegum material. I think someone wanted me to sew this before, so I'm going to grab that one. I think the toe strap that pulls up to 2,000 pounds. And then we've got the Naugahyde Protected full grain leather, we're going to do 2 layers of that. Saddle grade leather, 2 layers of that. So let's grab this one next. Oh, and we also have this vinyl tape stuff, whatever it is back there as well. That stuff's kind of cool. All right. So let's do a towing strap next. Let's do a towing strap next. And you know, I only cut one of these, but we could totally, if we do a zigzag, because the zigzag's the only thing you're going to be able to see on this material. Let's try a single layer first. And if the machine does as well as I suspect that she is going to do, we can add a second layer, doing 2 layers of the towing strap, which would have a towing capacity of about 4,000 pounds. I'm not making that up. This stuff is so strong. It's like a webbing type material that this material right here, you can pull 2,000 pounds with it. If we add a second layer, we're up to 4,000 pounds. So we might try that. If anyone wants to give me another challenge, type in the live chat, Scott, do single, then let's do 2. Anyone wants to challenge me to do 2 layers of this stuff so we can tow up to 4,000 pounds, then type it in the live chat, challenge sew off or whatever you want to call it. And we'll try to do a second layer of this afterwards. Okay. But again, this is really tricky stuff to get through. It just is. All right. So let me get our take up arm all the way up. And we'll try doing a single layer first. If we get a good outcome and we don't have any major tension issues, this kind of thing is going to give you tension issues. Matter of fact, I wonder if I should reduce the width of our zigzag. Right now, we're at the max. Should we reduce our zigzag a little bit if we're going to try? Maybe we'll do full zigzag, single layer, and then we'll reduce it a little bit for the second layer of this nylon webbing stuff that's designed for towing cars. What do you guys think? Should we go full size zigzag, both? Or should we do full size now and then reduce it for the second layer? What do you guys think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Double up. Full both. Emma is such a rebel. So I'm going to use my Guggenheim scissors to cut another layer of this. And we're not even going to mess around with a single layer. We're just going to go for double right away. We're going to go for double right away. Oh, I think that's Becky, isn't it? Becky just popped in. You guys know better than I do. I think that's Becky. Becky just had lunch. Someone ask Becky. Emma probably will do it, or Susie will do it. Somebody ask Becky what she had for lunch. We need to know. We need to know what Becky had for lunch. She just had lunch. What did you eat, Becky? Tell us. Come on. Let it out of the bag. Let us know what you ate. Goodness sakes. All right, let me grab some more towing strap. More towing strap. Where is it? There it is. All right, what's our length? All right, that's pretty close. I think that's pretty close. Oh, Guggenheim. Guggenheim just cut this strap like, oh my gosh, these scissors are so doggone cool. If you don't have Guggenheim scissors, doggone it, you need to get some. You need to get some like right away. Right away. All right. Well, I'm going to be a rebel and I'm going to do a single layer of this first. And then I'm going to add this second layer to it to create a little bit more drama. A little bit more drama. Come on, Becky. Let us know what you ate for lunch, for goodness sakes. You didn't eat something weird, did you? Did you have like Dinty Moore or catfish? Or what did you eat? Did you eat something really weird? Maybe Becky was so shocked by us asking her what she ate, she signed off. Did she sign off? I don't think so. She's a tough girl. Soup and pork. Bok choy. Bok choy is just fun to say. I don't know that I've ever had bok choy before. Is anyone else a connoisseur of bok choy? That sounds like fun. All right. Well, we're talking about what Becky had for lunch. I'm going to sew down this other one, and then we're going to do 2 layers as a final hoorah. All right, here we go. And I'm going full bore, like Emma said. We're on 4. We're on 4. And yeah, let's see what happens. There's the voice of confidence. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. All right. All right, here we go. And I'll do it at regular speed. I'm not going to do it on the slow gear right now. I might do it on the slow gear for the second layer though. All right, here we go. Oh, that machine is just going, what are you doing to me? Oh, that's really hard to see. That's really hard to see. Oh my goodness. We're going to have to get just the right angle to see this. It's a beautiful stitch. I can see it from here, but that is hard to see because of the white against the yellow. And I don't know how our camera is going to do with the yellow. Maybe I need to get a different color towing strap, something that's darker, because I don't think it likes yellow very much. Okay, so let's see. Bok choy. I hope someone doesn't challenge me to sew bok choy. Can you even sew bok choy? I don't think you can. Okay, so that's our first stitch line right there. Really, really hard to see. I'll put our second layer on there now, and we're going to try to go through this second layer also with the max zigzag. See how I cut those a little bit uneven right on the end there? No problem. Do you know why it's no problem? It's no problem because we have our Guttenheim scissors. Watch this. Oh, it's so easy to cut anything. Oh, wow. They're going to start carrying these in big cities as self-defense tools. All they'll say is to the potential mugger is, don't mess with me. I've got Guttenheims in my sock. I got Guttenheims in my sock, buddy. Back off. Yeah, and that mugger is going to like run for the wind. They're out of there. Okay, so now we're going to do our 2 layers of towing strap, which means we're sewing the equivalent of a material that would be able to tow 4,000 pounds. 2,000. I'm not good at math, but I can do basic math. 4,000 pounds. So now we're going to try to go down this, and I think I'll use my slow gear to do this. So again, if you don't know a thing about Swedish beauties, you pull this out right here like that, and now we've got a slow gear. We're taking this and gearing the machine down so it's going from full speed all the way down to 1/5, okay? 1/5. All right, let's give this a go. Yes. All right, here we go. No fear, like Candido said. Here we go. That was easy. That was as easy to go through these 2 towing straps that can pull 4,000 pounds as it was for the Guttenheim scissors to cut through it. Yeah, it was. So again, a little trick. The balance wheel right now is locked because of the gear reduction. Push this in, and then the balance wheel will move freely, okay? Remember to do that, then you won't have to break your machine and send it into the workshop, but that's okay if you want to do that. If you want to break your machine and send it to the workshop, you can do that. It's your machine. Yes. All right, so we got that there. Oh, wow. Wow. I hope we can see these against this yellow color. This camera tends to not like yellow. Hopefully we can see it. So this is our top stitch, and we know that because there's 2 rows of stitches. Let's try to get nice and close so you can see that. Get the right angle. I wonder if this will be better if I turn the light on. Hold on a second. I don't think so. Or turn the light off. I'm going to shut the LED light off above. Oh yeah, that's easier to see like that, I think, maybe. Okay, so these are our 2 rows. Again, look at from the side. I'll just show you the side again. This material that we just sewed with Michelle's 1963 Husqvarna Viking 19E with a 1 amp motor, does not have the 1.5 amp motor, doesn't need it. And we just went through the equivalent of 2 layers of this towing strap that will pull now up to 4,000 pounds. And it laid down a gorgeous stitch. It's so much easier to see with the LED light off, isn't it? Let me try to get a little bit closer. I'm going to be real bold here. page 34 plus zigzagging through this incredibly hardcore nylon webbing toe strap. Nylon webbing toe strap. Not like your toes on your feet. You silly, silly people towing like pulling a car out of a ditch. If that car weighs 4,000 pounds or less, we could do it with this strap. We probably would need a longer piece though. Yeah, we would. Yeah, we would. We need a longer piece. Wow. Wow. So that is some gorgeous stitching right there through these 2 layers of nylon webbing. Now we're going to flip it over and look at that single row because we doubled it up. We doubled it up after doing that single row, and then we added this second layer. So we'll only see 1 stitch line now. Let's look at these stitches through 2 layers of nylon webbing. Wow. Wow. Folks, I don't know what you're seeing, but that is page 34 plus stitching through all of this nylon webbing. Unbelievable. So the Schmetz people are absolutely right. This universal needle does really, really well with woven materials too, which is what their little book says that Susie from Minnesota sent me. Yeah, it does a beautiful job. This is our lock stitch. These are our top stitches here. It's a woven material. Yeah, it is. Woven material. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. Okay, I'm going to add that to our pile. So what do we sew now? What do we sew next? What do we have left? What we have left, I think, hold on a second. What we have left, let me turn my light back on, is we've got over here, we've got saddle grade leather. We can do 2 layers of that. We've got protected full grain leather. We could do 2 layers of that. Naga hide, 2 layers of that. That's the fake man-made leather. A lot of vinyl in that stuff. Bubblegum material. Heavy grade denim. Saddle grade leather using the slow gear all the way around, and compressed felt. We don't have to sew any more satin because we already did that for Robin. And Robin said it was well, everyone said it was a success. I agree. So, oh, and then we got this weird stuff right here. This is like canvas binding tape or something like that. I think you use it on edges in upholstery work or something like that. And we could certainly go through a couple layers of that using a zigzag as well. So these are our choices left that we have to try during this live stream. And thank goodness the internet has been holding out nicely. Yay. Yay. I love it. What do you guys and gals think? What should we try next to wrap up this live stream? We've been going about 1 hour and 39 minutes, not factoring in the first one that we bombed on because of internet. Yeah. Yeah, favored one has a 29E. So favored one also has on that 21E this 2-stage reverse where you don't have to hold it in. You just push it in, it stays in, you push it again, pops back out. That's the real big plus of the E series of the Swedish Beauties, isn't it? The E series of the Swedish Beauties. Yes. Ha. Yeah, and canvas binding tape, I haven't done it for a really, 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 really long time, but I've actually done it on this channel before. I've actually done it before. So let's see here. There's 2 layers. Yeah, that's a little terrifying. 3 layers. Where are my Gutenheins? Where's my Gutenheins? There's 2, so that would be 2 layers. Make it long enough that we can have some fun. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 2 layers of this canvas binding tape. And then I'm going to cut another. Watch this. Wait for it. That's so easy. It's ridiculous. It's so easy. It's absolutely ridiculous. It shouldn't be that easy to cut something like this, but it is with the Gutenheins, man. The Gutenheins just say, whoa, no problem. Look at that. Oh my gosh. All right. Anyone that thinks that I should eventually add Gutenhein scissors to our impromptu giveaways, who would like to win a pair of these Gutenhein scissors? Or you know what? Better yet, for our major contest giveaway, for our next major contest giveaway, for the second runner-up and the third runner-up, for the second runner-up and the third runner-up, I should give away a pair of these Gutenheim scissors. What do you guys think? I think these would be a great thing to win as a second runner-up or a third runner-up, don't you? Yeah. Oh my goodness, these are so nice. Plus, they come with a lifetime warranty. They come with a lifetime warranty. You can drop them off of the Empire State Building, and the company will laugh at you and will hang up on you and probably will not replace them. But you know what? Any other reason that they fail, it's a lifetime warranty. Who knows? Maybe if you drop them off of the Empire State Building, apart from being arrested and all the publicity, negative publicity that you would bring to, yeah, don't do it. Don't go to the Empire State Building and say Scott said to drop them off. I didn't say that. I'll deny it. I'll deny it for sure. Yeah, I will. Okay, so 3 layers. I can't even speak English anymore. 3 layers of this canvas binding tape looks like that. If that were leather, it would be about 10 ounces of leather, close to 10 ounces of leather. And we're going to try it anyway. We're going to try it anyway because Emma said we should. So if it doesn't work, you can all be mad at Emma. Be mad at Emma because Emma said, let's do the canvas binding tape. It's something new. We haven't done it for 100,000 years. I haven't been in business for 100,000 years. Emma, goodness sakes, girl, what are you doing to us? What are you doing? Just because you're from Brooklyn doesn't mean you can, don't bully us anymore with your canvas binding tape. Don't do it. So we're going to try to go through these 3 layers of canvas binding tape, which is really kind of crazy. Look at that. We're going to try to do it anyway, laying down a zigzag, but I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat just a little bit, and I am going to reduce the width of our zigzag to 3. You heard me. If you don't like it, tough cookies. I'm going to take us from 4 on stitch length, first of all, down to 3. I'm going to take us from stitch width from 4 down to 3. So we've got a 3 and a 3 as far as our settings. Okay, let's give this a go. And again, I don't know what's going to happen with our tension balance. This is vinyl. This is canvas binding tape. It's got a combination of canvas. It's got vinyl. It's got all the yucky stuff that can mess around with stitch quality. All the yucky stuff is right here. And it's all Emma's fault. Shame on you, Emma. Shame. Emma's going to throw me into a 200-second penalty box any second now. But she loves me. Susie loves me. I can tease them a little bit, and they're very forgiving. Thank goodness. They're very forgiving. And the other benefit we have dealing with this canvas binding tape that has vinyl in it too is instead of having the old belts that were glazed and nasty, these are the old belts that were on Michelle's machine. This one looks pretty serviceable, but when it gets kind of feels like sandpaper right there, it slips on the motor output pulley. So if you've got a Swedish Beauty And even when you take the take-up arm to the highest position, you get slipping. It's because that belt has been glazed. It comes from the friction from the heat. And once it gets that glazing, there's not a lot you can do. You could try to rough it up with sandpaper, probably about a 200 grit sandpaper, just kind of rough it up a little bit. That'll help for a while, but it's going to glaze again. So eventually you just have to replace them. And thankfully, we've got brand new belts on this 1963 Swedish Beauty. So we've got really good traction and no slipping. And Michelle said it was slipping before. So she's going to be really happy with no slipping anymore. Okay. So all that blah, blah, blah. Let's see if we can get down these 3 layers of canvas binding tape now and lay down a zigzag that, again, it's going to be a 3x3 zigzag. All right. And I think we'll do our slow gear. I'm going to employ our slow gear, and that'll help us a little bit, I hope. All right. Keep your fingers and toes crossed. Here we go. And it's because of Emma. If we have success, it's because of Susie. If we have failure, it's because of Emma. I'm being such a wise guy today. It's got to be because of the internet going out or something. All right, let's give this a try. Emma and Susie, you can both take credit if we have success, okay? Here we go. Let's keep our fingers and toes crossed. And I'm going to give us a little bit of an edge. I'm going to bump up our upper tension just slightly to help define that lock stitch. All right, here we go. Oh boy, I'm nervous. I'm a little nervous. I am. All right, here we go. Oh, we had issues. This is fun. We had issues trying to do 3 layers of this. We actually had, oh yeah. Let me show you what we got. So 3 is a little bit too much using this universal needle. If we use a different type of needle and a fresher needle, we probably could get away with it. But 3 layers is going to push it a little bit too far. It's not able to get that thread back up to complete that zigzag. We might be able to get away with doing this much with a straight stitch, maybe, but we might have to reduce it to 2. Let me show you what we got. See that? We started out fine using that slow gear, but here that needle started to tire. We basically have the equivalent of a skip stitch. We were back on track again for a short period of time. Skip stitch. Back on track, skip stitch. Back on track, skip stitch. Back on track. So I'm going to reduce it to 2 layers and see if that corrects the issue. Otherwise, our needle might have to get replaced. We might have a barb on that needle. If you get a little rough spot on the end of the needle near the point. Yeah, Emma, it is a skip stitch. Absolutely, dear. Absolutely. You get near the end of that, and this is not an issue of hook timing. This is not an issue of hook timing. It's a matter of this having a lot of vinyl incorporated with the canvas, and it's not able to pull that thread back up through consistently. It had success here, 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 and here, but it missed the mark there, 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 and there. So what we do in a situation like this is we either put in a brand new needle or we continue pushing through with the needle we have and we reduce the thickness from 3 layers to 2 to see if that'll do it. Yeah, it could be, Susie is saying, or was it Emma? Oh, Susie said, could it be from the material being slippery? It could be. And what we could try doing, again, since I haven't used this canvas binding tape that has vinyl in it for a long time, is kind of like we did with the one material where we were facing it with the rough side down, which would be this side here. See that rough side? We could try cutting this apart and putting the rough side down against the feed dogs. But because we got such a consistent stitch presentation here, 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 and here, and here, it's not like they're compressed. I think that it's less of a slippery feed issue and it's more of the density of the material in relation to the setup we have in getting that thread pulled back through to avoid skipping stitches. So what we can do is I'll pull this apart. I'll pull this apart and we'll try facing it the same direction with the rough side down. Because right now we have slippery, slippery. We'll try facing it down. So I'm going to pull these apart. Whoops, without breaking the camera. We'll try pulling these apart. And we'll try putting that rough side down. I think it was Naugahyde that we had that issue with, wasn't it? The Naugahyde slippery side, when we were putting that down, we were getting issues with it not stitching properly. All right, I'm not going to bump the camera anymore, I promise. And I can tell you the hook timing is spot on based on all the other stitching that we've done. The hook timing has not gone out. So let's try this again. I'm going to take it like this. I'm going to grab our Guggenheim scissors. I'm going to put our material orientated the same way. So we're going to have all the sides facing the same way with the rough side down. But I think it's still going to be with all the vinyl that's built into this canvas binding tape. It's got vinyl and canvas combined. I think it's going to be too much with our needle as it is right now. Needles will dull over, all the sew-offs we've done. All the sewing we've done so far is this on and off camera with this needle. We've done all of this, including this toe strap as well, through 2 layers of that. And you notice when we did the toe strap, which is, it's a very, very heavily woven material. We went through 2 layers of this toe strap, not a single missed stitch. So I think it's less of the woven factor and it's more of the vinyl factor in conjunction with the canvas that is also part of this stuff. So I think it's the material type. It's not the thickness. It might not even be the orientation, but we're going to try it again, orientating that rougher side down against the feed dogs to see if that eliminates the problem. If it does, great. But we've already done all of this on this needle. Plus, we did this as well on this canvas, the frame canvas. So when you put a needle through this much already, even when it's a Schmetz needle, it's going to start to get a little bit tired. This part of the, second part 2 of the live stream. So we'll try it orientating the canvas binding tape a different way. We're going to put it all facing the same way. We're going to put it underneath those feed dogs. We'll try the same stitch again against this material. If it doesn't work out any better, then I'm going to be inclined to say we have to reduce it to 2 and we can try it that way to see. And you know what, if we struggle with 2 also with misstitching, then we might just have to concede. We're going to have to put a different needle in if we want to try to have success with that, because a sharp needle is really the key to getting through something like this successfully. And we've got a semi-sharp needle right now after doing all the stitching we've done. All right, let's give this a try again. I'm going to go to the slow gear. And hello to the screen name ending with 888. I see that someone just popped in. I don't recognize that screen name. Brutus, I think it says Brutus 888, but my glasses are pretty dirty right about now. So if I'm misreading it, please forgive me. But I think it says Brutus 888. And the moderators would know better than I would, but I think that's a new name. I think it's a new name. Oh, I got it. Yay. And I'm sure Emma or someone will ask our friend. First time. Great. Glad you're here. And if you don't mind sharing, and I know my leaders are already going to ask it, would you be kind enough to let us know what state you're from or what country? Brutus 888. Someone with a sense of humor. I love it. Okay, so let's try this. We faced it all the same way now. We've got the rough edge down to see if it's a feed factor. I don't think it is. I don't think it's a feed factor. I think it's an issue of the vinyl and the canvas combination with a tiring needle. So we'll try it again. I don't think we're going to get that great of an outcome. And then we can try reducing it to 2 layers. So we'll see, okay? All right, let's see what happens. Here we go. And again, we're still set on the same width, the same length, 3 and 3. All right, here we go. Oh, I forgot to slow it down. I forgot to put the slow gear in. Oops. All right, engaging the slow gear now. Engaging the slow gear now. Here we go. All right, disengaging the slow gear. So we had a little bit more success this time. With orientating the material facing the same way with the rough side down, but we still have two places that the skip stitching occurred again with this heavy vinyl canvas material, this canvas binding tape. I don't know why they don't call it canvas vinyl binding tape. It's probably too long of a title, but you can see we definitely made an improvement. This is what we got the second time as we orientated it the same way. So we could try to eliminate the possibility that it was slipping here. But I suspected, as I told you, it was not an issue of it slipping because the stitch formation in the parts where we didn't have skip stitching are absolutely spot on. They're not compressed. They're not distorted. They're beautiful. But then we have these intermittent issues on this sew off time here and here where we missed a stitch. So it definitely helped. Same thing on the lock stitching on the back. We've got the same thing. But I think we have to reduce by 1 layer. I think 1 layer will get us home. I think it will. It might get us home. But again, let's see what we're sewing through. And again, this is a combination of canvas and vinyl with a needle that is no longer at the top of its game. Schmetz needles are nearly bulletproof, but anything gets tired. And like I showed you, we went through all of this on this needle. And on a tricky material sew off like this, I think 3 layers at this point of the game is just too much. It's too much. We got really close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it apart one last time. I'll try not to bump the camera. There we go. I got rid of that 1 layer. I'm going to throw that to the side. Get all the thread taken out of here. We'll try it one last time. And if we continue to struggle, then it's down to the needle is just too tired to manage material like this. I think we might have success this time, but we'll wait and see. I got all the thread off, I think. But this stuff is really, really a tricky material to sew, even with an absolutely sharp needle. But when you get to this stage, it's really, really tricky to sew it. So we're going to go same direction. It's not a light sew off. Look at the thickness of these 2 layers. And again, this is high concentration of canvas and also vinyl as well. Very, very tricky stuff. It's starting to look like Swiss cheese. We punched through it so many times. All right, so let's give it one last try. See if we can get all the way down with no skip stitching. We'll see if we can do it on this canvas binding tape. And we've had this challenge before where when you get to this phase where the needle is getting tired, it starts to underperform, and that's okay. Anything gets tired after a while, you know what I mean? All right, let's give it a try again. Let's give it another try. We'll do our final sew off on this canvas binding tape, canvas vinyl combination. We'll see if we can get all the way to the end with this zigzag stitch with no missed stitches. The last sew off we just did, we got really close. We'll try it again, see how we do. All right. All right, here we go. And I do have the slow gear in straight away. All right, let's see how we do. Here we go. Well, as I suspected, it was not an issue of, and I thought Susie's suggestion was brilliant. Let me say that first of all. I thought Susie's suggestion was brilliant because we faced the same challenge with the Naugahyde. We had that Naugahyde that we had the slippery side down, and it just gave us a nightmare. It gave us a nightmare of a challenge. But we reduced this from 3 layers to 2, and all of a sudden, we are exactly where we need to be. So when you get to a certain phase of sewing, based on how much work you put that needle through, recognizing this has a lot of vinyl, it has a lot of canvas in it as well. We're a little tough right there. I didn't get all the thread out. There we go. When you get to a certain phase, you have to recognize the limitations even of a Schmetz needle to be able to mitigate a material this tricky. A lot of vinyl, a lot of canvas built into this material. It's great for sewing furniture if you have a real sharp needle, if you're going to use this for edge work or something like that. And I'm not an upholsterer. An upholsterer would be able to articulate very, very clearly, how do you use this canvas binding tape in the recovering of furniture, etc. Other than a joining piece, that's all I know about it. But whenever you're working with a material like this, you've got to recognize it's going to give a challenge, as it did. We tried 3. We tried reorientating the material with 3, still too much. We took away that 1 layer, and this is not a real thick layer, but it's the composition. It's the composition of what this stuff is built out of that gives you the challenge. It doesn't have to be thick to give you a lot of challenge in the sew-off process. But when we took it down to 2, look at what we did. Exactly what we want to be seeing with this canvas binding tape. And no different when you flip it over and you look at that lock stitch, a beautiful lock stitch as well. So it's okay to encounter challenges. We certainly have between these 2 live streams today, the first live stream, the second live stream, we encountered challenges. But because of our perseverance and because of us working as a family and some great suggestions being offered as well, we always overcome them. We just do. We've never had an obstacle that we could not overcome, even if it means going through 2 different live streams. So kind of exciting, isn't it? Exciting to have that challenge and then all of a sudden have success. I've got that overhead LED light on right now, so it's not absolutely as clear as it would be, but you can see it. That's our lock stitch. That's our top stitch. So, yay. I love challenges. I love even more being able to overcome them. So, note to self, if we're going to try 3 layers of this canvas binding on a future live stream with a Swedish Beauty, let's do it right at the beginning. Let's do it right at the beginning. And better yet, let's not use a universal needle. Let's use a leather needle. Let's use a leather needle so we have that added benefit of that needle analogy. Not needle analogy. That would be like comparing it to something. I can't even speak today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway, we will have the benefit of that needle anatomy. That's what I meant to say. We'll have the benefit of the needle anatomy. With a leather needle, I don't think we'll have any skip stitching, even with 3 layers. I don't think we will. So remind me if we try this stuff again, and we should, if we try this again near the beginning of the live stream, and let's do it when we have a leather needle in there, and we can bump it up to 3, maybe even 4 layers, because that leather needle is going to slice through this nylon stuff and this canvas stuff in a way that this universal is not able to do. You know what I mean? It's going to be able to do it. So, but we still had success anyway. We just had to reduce our thickness slightly. Okay. All right. There's the remnants of what we had before. Yeah. Not anymore. Now we have success. I love it. Okay. So what do we have left real quick? What do we have left over here? We can do on this tiring needle, we can do these 2 layers of saddle grade, 2 layers of protected full grain. We can do this nasty, nasty naugahyde, bubblegum material, denim. We can sew around this with a slow gear, or we can also do this compressed felt as well. So those are our choices right there based on what I have prepared. So I'll let you all decide while I get a drink of Diet Coke. I'll let you all decide what we're going to do next. And if we encounter a challenge, like Candido said, no fear. We're going to overcome it. And the first live stream, we kind of did not overcome the double eye needle thing. We didn't overcome it in the first live stream, but we will eventually get the perfect setup so we can showcase these double eye needles by Schmetz. I want to do that for Schmetz. So that people will see that they are a viable tool in the sewing process and that they can work with the proper setup. All right. I got my drink of Diet Coke. So let me look at the live chat, see what y'all are saying. Oh, and hello to Sheila as well. Hello to Sheila. Now, Candido must have typed something and thought that he didn't want to have it there, so he retracted it. That was not just in case any of you are new to live streams, that was not an action that one of the moderating team took. They certainly have the authority to do that. If someone types something inappropriate, we used to have a gentleman that I haven't seen him forever, unless the moderators have seen this person and I just have missed it. But we had this gentleman from Finland. Y'all remember our Finland guy, Dr. Z or something like that. And Dr. Z would type things all the time that were a little bit borderline. And sometimes Paula or Sunny or one of the other moderators would delete the comment. It really kind of ticked him off. But, you know, it's a family-friendly environment. We have folks watching this with their grandkids, with their children, and we're going to keep it family-friendly. And the moderators are committed to doing that. But Candido must have typed something that he didn't like or whatever, and just decided to retract it himself. And that's fine. That's totally cool. Yeah, totally cool. All right. So what? No one's offering any input. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick something then. I'm going to go ahead and pick something. Oh, who cares? You're among family, Candido. If you misspell patience or something like that, doesn't matter. You ought to see when I'm texting the leadership team using speech to text, any one of them can tell you this. Susie could tell you this. Christine in Canada could tell you this. Sunny could tell you this. Emma could tell you this. When I'm texting the leadership team sometimes and I speak something and it's supposed to type what I say, it is so off. You know, usually they can figure it out because they're really smart. But I sometimes will type something using speech to text and it is like so far off from what I meant to say. It's just crazy. So yeah, you don't worry about it. If you misspell something, it's totally fine, right? Totally fine. All right, let's do denim then. So we had a couple people vote for denim. And this is not the denim that I like. This is that fancy stretch denim, blah, blah, blah stuff. See that? It's almost like bubblegum material. This is that stretch denim. I picked the wrong stuff. I usually pick just good old-fashioned denim like you would have on a farm or something like that. I usually pick the regular denim. This is the stretch denim. I don't like stretch denim, but we're going to give it a go. We're going to give it a go anyway. So I'm going to go fold it in half, get us up to 2 layers, and I'll go ahead and fold it one more time and get us up to 4 layers. We could go higher than this. This machine could handle more than this, but recognizing the needle is tiring a little bit, we're going to go 4 layers. I'll see if I can do a straight stitch, a zigzag. And again, if we get any skip stitching, it's not the timing of the machine. It's not the machine's fault. It's the needle is getting tired, because this also has that stretchy blah, blah, blah stuff in it that I don't like. I like regular good old fashioned denim. I don't want this new stretchy stuff that's like sewing bubble gum. Look at that. It's like sewing bubble gum. Yeah. Even sounds musical. Listen to this. Yeah. You could actually use this in a band. You could have like stretch denim as one of the band instruments instead of a washboard. You could get away with it. All right, so let's do 4 layers of this. 4 layers of this stretchy denim stuff. You can only imagine they incorporate vinyl into it. They use vinyl in this in order to give that stretch factor. Does anyone know anything about this stretch denim stuff that's designed, I guess, to be more comfortable as you're wearing it? Kind of stretches and conforms to your body or something like that. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit tricky to sew this. We'll see how this machine does. Or I should say, see how the needle does. The machine will do great. All right. And I will sew this at regular speed. I will not sew it on the slow gear. See how we do on this one, okay? All right, here we go. And if you heard that little click, it's because I had the slow gear in before, and then the gear shifts back into that main gear to give it full speed, and you'll hear a little bit of a click as it's doing that. A little bit of a click. So even though this is that stretch denim stuff that I'm not a fan of, the machine and the needle working together did a brilliant job of laying down this zigzag on this tricky vinyl-based denim or whatever this stuff is that gives it the stretchiness. I assume it's like a vinyl base. We'll look at this a little bit closer. There's our lock stitch. It's our lock stitch on the back of the material. Beautiful as well. So some really good looking stitching. We'll see if we can lay down a straight stitch on this as well. And then we'll put this vinyl based denim to rest. And I'll make it a point not to pick it out again. It's okay to sew it, but I'm not a real fan of this vinyl based denim. I want the regular old denim that you'd wear, back in the day when you were wearing blue jeans and stuff like that. All right, let's give it a straight stitch down here. And this straight stitch I will sew with the slow gear just to employ it. All right, here we go. All right, take our slow gear out, rotate that balance wheel up. Yeah, and I think that this is really, really good looking stitching, but when you're working with multiple layers, and I know Michelle is going to be working with multiple layers, I might want to talk her into purchasing one of my roller feet for this Swedish Beauty. I'll fit her with the right one so that it's going to work well on this machine, and we might want to look at that as an option, because while you have really beautiful looking stitching, this is our top stitching right here. I'll turn it like this. Actually, I'll turn it like this because we did the zigzag first. We did the straight stitch second. Really beautiful looking stitching. Let me shut that LED light off. Hold on. There we go. We'll shut that LED light off above, and then it comes in even a little bit more clear. So we've got good looking stitching. The stitch presentation, the stitch formation is spot on. Even though this is a vinyl based denim, it doesn't have any skip stitch issues at all. Some really, really good stitch work. But the only thing I'm noticing is I did have this set on the highest setting as far as stitch length. Let me get that over there. I did have this set on the highest setting for stitch length, and I don't think we got the fullness of the stitch length. And that's a factor of feed. That's a factor of feed. When you're dealing with multiple layers like this, you need all the feed benefits you can. The feed dogs will work really hard for you. The feed dogs will work hard. The presser foot will work hard. But when you add a roller foot to this, you're going to get even better feed factor when you're dealing with multiple layers. So I'm really happy with this. Beautiful stitching, totality of the stitching right about there. If I hold it real still, totality of the stitching looks really, really good for these 4 layers of this stretchy vinyl-based denim. Regular denim, we could probably step it up to 6 layers or maybe 8 layers and still get some really, really good stitch quality because it doesn't have that vinyl built into it. But as soon as you get this stretchy denim stuff, it creates a little bit of a challenge, just like that canvas binding tape with the vinyl in it did for us as well. But some beautiful stitching. Let's turn it over and look at that lock stitch. No difference. Beautiful lock stitching, both for the zigzag on top and also for the straight stitch as well. Some beautiful stitch quality. And that just speaks to the quality and the caliber of this 1963 machine, and also the quality and the perseverance of this Schmetz universal needle as well. This universal needle that already has gone through a lot of sewing, and yet it continues to perform. That's the true distinction, in my opinion, between something that is top shelf, as our friends in the UK say, and something that is okay. You can still buy some okay machines today that are made by companies like Juki and Elna and other ones like that, but they're not going to be top shelf. They're just not. They're not going to be top shelf. They're not going to have the advantage of this Swedish engineering. They're just not. But they can still get the job done pretty well. But when you go through something like this and you deliver stitching like that, that's a top shelf machine, and that's a top shelf sewing needle as well. They're working in partnership together. So I'm really pleased with that. Again, just to show you, if you joined us a little bit late, what we've already done, both on the live stream and also off camera, this Schmetz universal needle has already done all of this. That's a lot of sewing on one needle, folks. When you're talking about this denim, this vinyl-based denim, protected full-grain leather, this real thin satin that Robin gave us as a challenge, this elk hide, 2 layers of that, single layer of elk hide, more denim that we did over here, cotton, saddle-grade leather, regular cotton with a stiffener in it as well. This canvas binding tape that gave us quite a bit of a challenge right there, that purple stuff. Tried the 3 layers, too much, dropped it down to 2. Absolutely beautiful stitching. And then finally, this towing strap. These 2 pieces right here represent 4,000 pounds of towing strength. You could pull a $4,000 truck or a vehicle with these 2 pieces of strapping right here. And then finally, we goofed around with this on this canvas. And again, I would strongly encourage you on a rainy day, have some of this in your sewing area. And when the grandkids come over after school or whatever, set them down to the sewing machine, put in some fun colored, multicolored bobbin thread like we did over here. This stuff right here, you can get it almost anywhere. And give them a project that they can proudly display either at their house or in your sewing area. And every time they come over, they can say to their friends or whoever, I did that with grandma. I did that with grandpa. I did that with my aunt, with my uncle, whoever. But again, a Schmetz needle, why do I love them? Because you can do all of this and you're still getting page 34 plus stitching out of this 1963 machine with this Schmetz needle. They just don't, they're like the Energizer Rabbit. They just don't give up. They don't give up. All right, let me do a couple more sew offs and we're going to wrap this up because we've been running 2 hours and 20 minutes already. And I want to be respectful of, number one, I love your loyalty. I love your dedication to the family. I really do. But I also want to be equally dedicated to you of being mindful of the amount of time that we've run already. Even though I'd love every opportunity to cut something else with my Guggenheim scissors. Yeah, I would. I would love to. Might find another reason to cut something with them. All right. Why don't we put this machine through a heavy test now? And we'll do some more of this saddle grade leather. I got 2 layers of this. It's going to get us up to right around 8 ounces of leather. You look at that from the side. I think you can see that. It's a thick sew off. And I'm going to put these back to back so that we can see the stitching on both sides. So this is what we're going to be attempting right now with a very tired needle. See if I can get that orientated right so you can see it. There it is. This is what we're going to be doing now. And it's because of my confidence in the work that I poured into this machine. I told Michelle via text that I put about 14 hours into this machine. I probably put more than that. But if you look at the Facebook shots that I posted, almost 400 pictures. I think it was maybe more than 400. One of my leadership team can look at those 9 posts that I did with those sets of photos. I probably put over 400 photos up of what I did to Michelle's machine. But it's not even capturing a fraction of the amount of things that I did to this machine. It needed a lot of care. And that, again, from the outside, if you look at this machine from the outside, it's a beautiful machine. It's gorgeous. And I cleaned up the outside a little bit, but not much. But never judge a machine by its cover, because a machine can look really good from the outside, and yet inside it can have all kinds of issues like this one did. So be real careful if you buy a machine, and whenever you can, send it to the workshop right away so I can address all those things like I did for Michelle, so she can sit down to this machine and just enjoy it. That's really the key, isn't it? That's what I want to bring to my customers. I want them to be able to sit down and enjoy this machine without any challenges, without any headache, and just fall in love with it. Fall in love with their sweetest beauty. Okay, so let's get these 2 layers of saddle grade leather in place and see if this Schmetz needle can persevere a little bit longer, just a little bit longer. Let's do a zigzag on it first. Let's do a zigzag, and then we'll go straight stitch next to it. I think we'll try a straight stitch after that. And what I've set it up on real quick is I did a 3x3. I set this at 3 with the stitch length. I set the stitch width at 3 as well. I just realized something, y'all. If anyone showed up during this live stream, you weren't late. You were not late, because I never rang the bell. Class never really started. How cool is that? All right, let's go ahead and bring this take-up arm all the way up again. Always try to launch with this take-up arm at the highest position, just beginning that downstroke. So we go up, 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 downstroke. See that? See where it's starting to go in that downstroke right there? That's where you want to try to launch, especially if you're doing a more difficult sew off. You want to start with that on the downstroke as that needle bar is getting ready to come down and punch through these 2 layers of saddle grade leather. So we'll start with a zigzag. I'm going to try to sew as straight as I can. I haven't used my little clips at all during this live stream, which is probably a huge mistake, but I'm going to try to go down this with a zigzag, and then we'll see if we can lay down a straight stitch next to it. Otherwise, I'll leave that space open, and Michelle can lay down a straight stitch next to it. Okay? All right, here we go. Saddle grade leather, 2 layers, about 10 ounces of leather. Here we go. And I'm going to follow Candido's lead. I always say it, sometimes a teacher, always a student. Candido reminded me, no fear. So I'm going to launch into this with a little bit more authority, a little bit more gas. And so I don't overstep my bounds, I'll engage that slow gear so we can do that. All right, here we go. And then again, when you go to disengage that slow gear, push that slow gear in, and then your balance wheel will turn very, very easily. Okay. If you were to ask me about my favorite leather, I've got a number of them. I really do. But I do enjoy sewing saddle grade leather a lot. And again, this leather came out of Florida from a leather place that does other leather work. And Emma will send me bags of this stuff that are basically remnants or scraps that they didn't want to deal with. And saddle grade leather is just always a delight to sew, isn't it? When you see the stitching of this. So this is our top stitching right here. I'll do the totality of stitching first. I don't know what to say other than page 34 plus. Page 34 plus, that is just an absolutely drop dead gorgeous stitch. And again, from a universal needle that has done a ton of sewing. I can literally say a ton, and I'm not lying, because we did those toe straps that will pull up to 4,000 pounds. So we did more than a ton of sewing. You know what I mean? We really did. Beautiful, beautiful stitching with this zigzag. Look at the thickness of what we went through. Then if we turn it over, our lock stitching, nothing different. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous lock stitching as well. I'm not even going to get closer because you can see it so clearly in this shot right now. It's absolutely breathtaking. And no wonder people that do professional leather work, they love to use veg tan leather and they love to use saddle grade leather as well, because the stitching presents wow. It's just a wow stitch. It just is. Beautiful stitching. Lock stitch, top stitch. Get my big old hand out of the way. Top stitching. Beautiful. And again, not an easy sew off. That's a lot of leather, folks. You look at those two layers combined, that's the equivalent of a belt, easily the equivalent of a belt. And this 1 amp Swedish Beauty from 1963 had no issues whatsoever. No hand start needed. It just went into it and said, let's get her done. Kind of like Candido said, no fear. This machine, this Schmetz universal needle that we've already run through we've run this needle through the ringer, and it's still performing beautifully. Beautifully. Look at again, if you just joined us. I'm going to put this one with it now. This is what we've already done on this needle. I mean, it speaks for itself. I don't need to say anything other than look at that. Look at all that we've already put this needle through. And it just keeps on going. Just keeps on going. We're not done yet. A lot of people by now would have said, you've already proven the point, Scott. You've already proven that this Swedish Beauty is sewing at the top of her game. She's ready to get the job done for Michelle. She's ready to go to work. But our standards at Cow Country, they're off the charts. That's why so many people love coming to this channel, even if they don't subscribe. I told you, on average, every month, we get between 35,000 to up to 100,000 unique visitors. If just a fraction of those folks click subscribe, just a fraction, we wouldn't be coming up on 14,000 subscribers. We'd be coming up on 40,000 subscribers, because that's how many people come to this channel every month. Somewhere between 35,000 to 100,000 unique visitors. I can look at the stats and I can see that. And I can even see what countries and what parts of the US they came from. So if you're watching this right now and you haven't clicked subscribe yet, please do that, so that we can start celebrating not 14,000, but we can start really representing the numbers that are there and get closer to 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't it be fun to have a bigger family? I think it'd be fun to have a bigger family, but we probably have to add even more moderators to the team, because the moderators would be looking at live streams that wouldn't have 20 or 30 people and hundreds of people. You wait and look. You wait and look if I'm wrong. You wait and check tomorrow morning to see how many people have already viewed this live stream, either as a live stream or as a video. And by tomorrow morning, it's going to be close to 200, maybe more. But if we had all these people click subscribe and said, come to the live streams, that moderating team of Christine and Susie and Emma and Sonny and all the other moderating team members, Bill, they would have their hands full trying to take care of the family during a live stream, because we would have 50, 60, 100 people in the live stream instead of 20 or 30. Yeah. So click subscribe and tell everyone to come to the live streams. Let's grow this family. Let's grow this family more and more and more. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, what next? What can we do next? Dare I try this Naugahyde? Heavily vinyl based. Dare I try this Naugahyde at this phase with this tiring needle? Should I try it? Is it insanity? It's insanity, I'm sure. But maybe I should try this Naugahyde, 2 layers of this. We'll lay down a zigzag, a straight stitch on this. Maybe I'll do a straight stitch first and then do a zigzag after it. This Naugahyde, I think it was Emma or Susie or somebody that educated us, or as my father would have said, edumacated us on this Naugahyde, how it was introduced, what they used it for. Folks that didn't want to pay for leather got this Naugahyde. It looks like leather. It does. But it's got all that vinyl in it, that nasty, nasty vinyl that gives us all kinds of challenges, just like that canvas binding tape that has all that vinyl in it. But we're going to try it anyway. Even though this Schmetz needle is like nearing the end of its game right now. It's saying, change me, like a baby that has a dirty diaper. Like a baby that has a dirty diaper, this Schmetz needle is saying, change me. Please change me. And patiently say, we will, but not yet. We're almost done. And we wouldn't say that to a real baby. We would change the baby right away, because we don't want them to get owies and all that stuff that babies can get from dirty diapers. And I probably have talked enough about dirty diapers now, but you get the point. The Schmetz needle is saying, change me. We're saying not yet. Almost. We're almost there. All right, let's do a straight stitch down this Naugahyde, and then we'll do a zigzag next to it. And then we're gonna move pretty quick towards wrapping this up. Pretty quick All right, let me get that take-up arm all the way up. You can see where we are right now. Way down there. That's going to create bird nesting. It's going to create other binding issues. So we're going to move it up to the top, starting with that downstroke. There we go. There's where we want to be, right there. See that? All right. Let's try to get down this Naugahyde, 2 layers of it. I'm not going to use my little clips. I probably should, but I'm going to try to hold it steady as best as I can. And then we'll lay it on a zigzag next to this. Okay, you ready? And I'm going to set that stitch length right around 3 1/4. All right, here we go. I'm not using my my slow gear, not using it. That is a beautiful stitch, but it's compressed. I've got it on 3 1/4 for stitch length right now. See that? I've got it on 3 1/4. So we're nowhere near max of 4, 3 1/4 right there. You can see it. But again, this Naugahyde is naughty. I call it naughty Naugahyde. See how it's already curling? See that vinyl is already making it curl as we stitch through it? That's why it's naughty. It's naughty. Yeah. I mean, if it were in the live chat, if this were in the live chat, the moderating team, the leadership team would have already thrown it into a 200-second timeout. They've already done it. It would already be in a timeout because it's naughty. Look at it. It's curling more and more. Every second that ticks, it's like, I'm going to curl more and make your life difficult when you try to lay down that zigzag on me. Yeah, you try to lay a zigzag on me, I'm going to curl just like I am right now. But that doesn't, like Candido said, no fear. We're not afraid of you. We're not afraid of you, you naughty Naugahyde. No way. Clip there. Let's, yeah, we're gonna take care of you straight away. All right, let's get that into place. Get ready to deal with our naughty Naugahyde. We'll lay down a zigzag and then I'll show you both of these stitch lines. See that? If I had clipped that with my Gutenheim or whatever that is, my scissors, it would have cut that right away. These little shear thingies are, yeah, they're saying, hey, we don't want to deal with that. All right, so let's do this now. Let's get this down with a zigzag right next to it. Then I'll show you both of these stitch lines. Okay, so I'm making a quick adjustment over here. Going to take us, we'll stay right around 3 1/4, and then we'll take our stitch width down here to a little bit right around 3. So I've got this on 3. I got this on right around 3 1/4. Okay, I'll go to 3. Let's make them matched. 3 on stitch length, 3 on stitch width. Okay, 3 and 3. Let's try to lay down a zigzag on this naughty Naugahyde now. Look at that stuff curl. Isn't that ridiculous? You see why it needs a timeout? Look at that. Go ahead and go into the live chat and see if one of the moderators doesn't throw you into a 200-second timeout. Look at how you're misbehaving. You're being naughty. Just stay right. Just go right. I think I gave it a spanking. Is that wrong? All right. Let's sew this stuff. Let's try to lay down a zigzag next to this straight stitch and put this naughty Naugahyde to rest at last. And this time I will sew the zigzag using the slow gear. All right, here we go. There we go. Slow gear off, rotate the balance wheel up. I feel like singing the downtown song. This is just like downtown. It's like downtown, da 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 da, downtown, da 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 da. I just put that in one of the reels. If you didn't see it on Facebook, check it out. Such a great classic song. Let's look at these closer. That's our top stitch, obviously. And our lock stitch is just like, are you kidding me? What? What? Yes. I know. Let's take a closer look at it. Let's take a closer look at it. See, if I let go of this stuff, watch this. You can see that on the, can you see that? Here, I'll hold it like this. That is the presence of vinyl. You don't need a vinyl detector. That's your evidence right there that there's vinyl in that. See that? Vinyl, vinyl, vinyl. Can't live without it. Can't live with it, or something like that. All right, our top stitching first. Let's take a look at this. And I'm going to shut off that LED light. Should I shut it off? Let's see how well we can see it. Let's do that. Oh yeah, we can see it pretty good. So there's our naughty Naugahyde right there. And the camera's, there we go. There the camera decided to focus. Yay. So we have some beautiful straight stitching. We have some beautiful zigzagging as well with our top stitch. I'll see if I can get a little bit closer. The camera will focus on it. Come on, camera. Come on. You've done really well. Don't focus on my arm, not my arm down here. Focus up here. Here, we'll do that. Do it up a little bit higher. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, I'm just going to stop right there. Make anybody seasick. Beautiful top stitching, beautiful stitch quality, beautiful stitch quality. We turn it over. You can look at the thickness again of what we just sewed through. These 2 layers of Naga hide. I think you can see that, yeah. And now our lock stitch on the back, no difference at all. I'll turn it like this. We can look at it like this. Shut off that LED light. I think that LED light is hurting us a little bit. Yeah, it is. This stuff is just so bendy. Here, let me turn that light back on. I think that actually helps. Yeah, that's actually going to help us a little bit in this instance. I'm going to try to grab that stitching on the bottom and pull it a little bit so you can see it even more clearly. So we have some beautiful lock stitching through this Naga hide stuff. There it is. Beautiful top stitching as well. So I don't have any plans anytime in the near future to make a chair out of this stuff, but I did see that Emma posted kind of the history of this stuff. It's important to know history. History is such a big part of our vintage lives, and the more we know about stuff like this, the more we can share, right? So thank you to Emma for posting that as well. But I'm going to go ahead and throw this into our pile also. I had it perfectly aligned before so you could see it. Now it's like, hey, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be seen. All right, enough of that. Enough of that. I'm throwing it in the pile. And you notice when I try to put it in the pile, this is our pile of sew off so far. On camera, off camera. It always wants to stand out and say, look at me. See that? You know, come on, be part of the team. Be part of the team, Naga Hide. Be part of the team. Come on, be part of the team, doggone it. See how nicely saddle grade leather is behaving? Can't you be like the saddle grade leather? Can't you be like your big brother? Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. All right. I'm going to do a couple more real quick ones, and then we're going to wrap this up. So I've got protected full grain leather. Let's do this. Let's do this. If everyone agrees, let's do a longer sew off with this here. I'm going to stitch around the edges. You know what I think I'll stitch? So I think I'll use like a small, almost a compressed zigzag to create a border all the way around this using the slow gear, all the way around. We didn't do bubblegum material. I feel like we missed something not doing bubblegum material, but we'll do this one. I'm kind of debating. Okay, we're going to do this one, and then we'll wrap up. Our last sew off for this live stream will be bubblegum material. We'll end with bubblegum material. We'll do that. Let's end with bubblegum material. And then we're going to have a parade. We're going to have a parade for this Schmetz needle that never gave up. Our Schmetz needle that we've used through all of these sew-offs is like the engine that could. It's like the engine that could. It never gave up. Never gave up. Oops. See what I almost did? I engaged the slow gear, but I forgot to move this to the highest position. There we go. Now I can put my slow gear on. Because once you engage the slow gear, it's going to be impossible because of the gear changing to turn this balance wheel. So don't force it. Once you engage that slow gear, do not force the balance wheel to try to manipulate it. Take the slow gear out if you need to turn the balance wheel. Okay? All right, let's go around this piece of leather. Let's hit that bubblegum material, and then we'll wrap up this part 2 live stream of Michelle's 1963 Viking Husqvarna model 19E. All right, here we go. I think we go. Yeah, we go. What was I going to slow? Oh, I was going to do a compressed. I almost forgot to make my adjustments over here. We're going to do a more compressed zigzag, which is going to be about a 2.5, kind of like the quilter's magic recipe. Most quilters will sew with a 2.5 stitch length. That's what we're going to set this one at. 2.5. Stitch width is at 2.5 as well. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to stop right there. Take out my slow gear. I'll kind of rotate this, get us near the end. A little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. Almost there. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to spin it around. There we go. Lower that presser foot, re-engage that slow gear, and take us to the finish line, or at least near the finish line. I should clip these while I have them real quick. Aha. Clip, 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 clip. There we go. All right, down to the finish line. You beautiful Swedish beauty. Take us home. Take us home. And again, this is saddle grade leather, folks. This is not a light sew off. This is saddle grade leather. See, I would not have been able to make that turn right there. There's no way I could have made that turn if I was trying to meter out the power of this very strong Swedish beauty with a regular speed without slowing her down using that slow gear. I love the slow gear. And stop. Take the slow gear out so I can rotate the balance wheel. Press your foot up. Clip, clip. All right. Might have to get a wide angle lens for this one. Might have to get a wide angle lens for this one. So this again is saddle grade leather. I'll kind of show it to you this way so it'll be a little bit easier to manage it. Some beautiful stitching threads. I should have cut those. Hold on a second. I'm a little bit fastidious. Aha. Gotcha. Okay. Saddle grade leather, single layer, about 3 to 4 ounces. Beautiful zigzagging. And the cool thing about that slow gear is look at the way even I sewed relatively straight. Even I sewed relatively straight because I had the benefit of slowing the machine down to 1/5 of its normal speed. Laying down a gorgeous, gorgeous zigzag stitch. And again, look at the edge if you want to get an idea of how thick the leather is. See that? It's definitely not a light sew off. 3 to 4 ounces of leather, saddle grade leather. Beautiful, beautiful stitching. Turn it over. Some beautiful lock stitching as well. I'm going to start over here, show that to you. What is that over there? Almost looks like a hank hair. Ah. All right, I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone. So this is our lock stitching again. I'll kind of start over here, kind of go across. All right, I got to get it. Hold on. All this lint and everything. Interesting. The density of the nap over there is thicker. It's harder to see the stitching. Okay, you get the idea. You all are very smart. Beautiful lock stitching. Get my hand out of the way. Beautiful lock stitching. Drop dead gorgeous top stitching as well. And again, about 3 to 4 ounces of leather. All right, I'll throw this to the side. So adding that to the bottom of the pile right here, along with our canvas, mostly on camera. This is what we've done in this live stream today to put Michelle's machine to the test and to make sure that it's absolutely ready to serve her faithfully. And I think we've accomplished that. But we're going to do one last sew off for fun. We're going to sew the bubblegum material, which can be a nightmare as well because it's got all that vinyl in it. It's real stretchy stuff, as I'll show you. But a beautiful, beautiful job on the part of this 1963 Swedish Beauty. And it's always fun. It's always fun to have something, to have a machine on the workbench that is older than me. It's always fun to have a machine on the workbench that's older than me. And this 1963 Swedish Beauty is older than me. So I feel like a kid. I'm a little bit of a kid. I almost feel inspired to grab bubble gum right now, but I won't. I'll show self-control for the sake of the kiddos watching and say, see, I didn't have to be impulsive. I didn't have to go for the bubble gum right away. Didn't have to do it. All right, so let's check out this bubblegum material. Why do you call it bubblegum material? Well, because of this. It's kind of like those that blue jean denim material that we sewed, isn't it? It's kind of like that. So let's go ahead and finish off this live stream sewing this bubblegum material. I've got 2 layers of it. I'll go ahead and buzz through this. And maybe what I'll do is I'll do like 2, 3, maybe 4 stitch lines, and we'll change the length of the stitching as we go. Okay? That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. So let's start in the stitch straight stitch realm. Let's start in the straight stitch realm. And we'll start with a long, nice long straight stitch, right about 4 and 4. Yeah, I'll set it on 4 as far as stitch length. So we'll do a 4 length straight stitch, and I'll buzz down that. I probably don't want to go too fast. I'll try to go relatively slow so I can actually get that stitch line established and then hold the material together so we're not all cockeyed like I usually sew. And then we'll buzz over to a shorter straight stitch, even a shorter straight stitch, a large zigzag, medium range zigzag, and then a compact zigzag. I'll see if I can fit all of that on here. I probably won't, but I'll say that I will. I'll try to. I'll give it a try. No fear, like Candido said. All right, straight stitch first, long straight stitch. Here we go. All right, I did a long straight stitch. And it looks like we're pretty good on tension balance right now. I'm just going to take a look at it again. So we're a little bit stronger on the lock stitch right now. So I'm going to back this. I'm going to back this off just a little bit as I'm looking at our initial sew off. Our lock stitch is a lot more poppy than our top stitch. So I'm going to back off the upper tension just a little bit. Again, if you're brand new to sewing or brand new to the channel, what the upper tension does is it pulls up to define the lock stitch. It's pulling a little bit too hard right now, and we want to give some of that victory back to the top stitch. So the way we do that is we back this off so that the bobbin case can pull down harder. Bobbin case pulls down, upper tension pulls up, and right now this is being a bully. So we're going to take away a little bit of its authority. Okay? I didn't take away all of its authority, just some of it. All right, so now we're going to a little bit shorter straight stitch. Get this back into place, and we'll look at all of them together. A little bit shorter straight stitch. So I'm adjusting this from 4 now down to 3. I think you could see that. Yeah. Adjusting it down to 3. Now we're going to do another stitch line. Get my take-up arm in the correct position. There we go. And this one this one I'll sew at the regular speed as well. All right, here we go. And we're still underserved a little bit on that top stitch. So I'm even going to back this up a little bit more. And again, you experience that sometimes when you're working with different materials. When you're working with different materials, you sometimes have to make those adjustments to the tension to accommodate them, to get that stitch closer to near perfect. Closer to near perfect. And again, the vinyl factor of this bubblegum material does not help our cause. It challenges us just a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, I think that's probably short enough. Let's lay down a zigzag next to this now. We could go much, much shorter than that. Yeah, we'll do one more. I've done a decent enough job sewing straight. We'll lay down one more stitch line of a straight stitch, and I'll take it from 3 all the way down to 2. So now our stitch length is on 2. We could go smaller than that. We can go all the way down to 0.5 or below, but we'll stop on 2 for right now. And you'll be impressed how small this stitch is for being only on 2. All right, let me get my take-up arm up. And we'll lay down our final straight stitch. Here we go. Yeah, that little adjustment helped us a little bit. That adjustment helped us just a little bit. Okay, now we're going to move over to zigzagging, and we'll look at all these together. Yeah, our lock stitch is still a little bit dominant, but that's okay. That's okay. We could make further adjustments if we're going to be sewing a ton of this bubblegum material. We can make further adjustments to get a more poppy top stitch, but we're just going to keep moving forward right now. Keep moving forward. All right, let's lay down a zigzag now, and I'm going to go for the max zigzag. So I'm turning our stitch length all the way up to 4, and I'm turning our stitch width from 0 all the way to 4. So now we'll lay down a zigzag on this bubblegum material, and we'll keep bringing that zigzag smaller, or I should say more and more narrow, more and more short, and we'll bring it all the way down to a fairly compressed zigzag on the last stitch off. We'll do 3 stitch offs altogether. Okay, here we go. Take up arm is right. There we go. Lay down another zigzag next to this. We'll just reduce it down a little bit from 4x4 down to 3x3. So right now I'm just making a quick adjustment to this. Stitch length down to 3, stitch width down to 3. We'll do our next sew off. Take up arms all the way up. Okay, so a 3x3 zigzag now, and then our last one will be a 2x2 zigzag, or maybe I'll be a rebel and go with a 1x1 zigzag, which will be really, really tight, almost like a mending stitch. Here we go. Any input from those folks that are watching right now? Should I do a 2x2 or a 1x1 zigzag to wrap up this last sew off? A 2x2 or a 1x1? Or do I have enough room to do both? Maybe we should do both. You can either say a 2x2, a 1x1, or both. I'll try to sneak both in there if I can do it. I don't know if I can, but I'll give it a try. So a 2x2, a 1x1, or both, if you want me to try to do both on there. I bet you Emma says both. I don't even have to look at the live chat. I know that Emma's probably going to say both. I know she will. I think they both fit. I knew Emma would say that. And Susie took mercy on me. Susie took mercy and she said, "Yeah, let's do a 1x1." Oh, Susie, thank you for your mercy, dear. Thank you for your mercy. Oh my gosh. I will try to fit both on there. I will try. I will give it a go. All right. I'm going to move this over even a little bit further. We're going to be like squeezing into a Volkswagen Beetle right now. We're going to be squeezing into a Volkswagen Beetle. All right. So I'm going to try a 2x2 and then I'll do a 1x1. All right. So I just made a quick adjustment over here. Our stitch length now is on 2. Our stitch width is also on 2. All right, let's give this a go. I'm really so straight, which is out of my nature. I'll give it a try. Take up arm all the way up. Maybe I'll cheat and put on the slow gear. Maybe the slow gear will save me. All right, slow gear is on. Slow gear is on. Here we go, 2x2, and then our final one, a 1x1. I think we'll be fine. We'll be fine. No fear, right, Candido? No fear. Oh, we got tons of room. Emma was optimistically courageous. That's our new way of looking at it. She was optimistically courageous. So there's a 2x2. Now we're going to do our final one, a 1x1. And then this poor needle can finally get changed before Michelle comes to pick this machine up. I'll put a brand new needle in. This poor Schmetz needle will finally get a much overdue diaper change. Much overdue. Okay, so we'll get this into position. Oops, that way. The other way. There we go. Yeah, I'm pulling my arms in to get us all into the Volkswagen. I'm pulling my arms and my feet in. Nobody breathe, or everybody should breathe, or we're going to have a fatality. So we'll try to do this final sew off, a 1x1. 1x1. That's going to be very, very tight. All right, so I just did a quick little change over here. We have our stitch width on one. Our stitch length is on one. See, we could go even further down. We can go all the way down past 0.5 to 0.4 to 0.3 to 0.2 to 0.1. That's kind of the beauty of these Swedish beauties. You can bring it way down here. But if you go too far, you're not going to get any material movement at all. It's just going to be a mess. Just going to be a mess. Okay. We'll do this final sew off, and I will not use the slow gear on this last one. It's going to be a 1x1. We're going to buzz down it, no fear, and then we'll wrap up this live stream. Right a little bit over 3 hours. Okay, let me get that take-up arm all the way up. All right, here we go. Final stitch line, final sew off, bubblegum material. Here we go. Oh, that's fun. I haven't done a 1x1 in a long time. That's really fun. That almost looks like a FOF 130 that has calibration off, and it's doing like a little modified zigzag while you're trying to do a straight stitch, but we actually are doing it intentionally. And it's not a calibration issue. The machine is doing what it's supposed to be doing. All right, let's move that back over there. And I can show you all of these stitches that we just laid down, all of these stitches. Yeah, even with our subtle adjustments, that upper tension continued to be a little bit of a bully. Not so much so, a little bit. Continued to be a bully. And if you're looking over my shoulder at the other workbench over there, and you're curious what that is, when I'm done showing you these stitches, I'll show you what's underneath that cover, because this machine is a machine that I have not shown specifically on this channel before, underneath that bentwood cover. I have not shown that one before. And I think you'll be intrigued to see it. And that was a message, I believe, from Emma. Let me see what it is. So Brutus 888, last comment. Okay, got it. Let me look at Brutus's last comment. When you adjusted the tension, can you quickly show what you were looking at to determine it needed adjusting, and how you knew you needed to decrease the tension versus increase? Yeah. Thank you, Emma, for bringing that to Brutus's comment to my attention. And yeah, I'd be happy to answer that. So the whole thing about tension when it comes to any sewing machine, it doesn't have to be a vintage machine. It can be one of the and they always make me nervous when they come into the workshop, and they usually come by way of Joann's. Joann's will make a referral of a customer, and they walk in with a $14,000 long arm quilting machine made by Husqvarna or made by Elna or one of the other mainline companies. And I'm always excited to get that machine done and get it out of the workshop so I don't have a $14,000 machine sitting around. But when you're talking about tension, as we look at the stitching that we just did on this bubblegum material, let me shut that light. Let me see if that light should be off or on. Yeah, I think I'll shut it off. There we go. So as we're looking at the sew-offs that we just did, this is our top stitch, obviously. When we're looking at a stitch, there we go, it came into form nicely. When we're looking at stitch lines like this, we're looking for the composition. We're looking for the composition or the way the stitch presents. Does it look like it's well-defined? Does it look like it's shouting out to us saying, hey, look at me, look at me? The first stitch line that we did on top here, the straight stitch, I could see by looking at it comparatively with the lock stitch on the back. That's our lock stitch on the back right there. It's a real poppy lock stitch. By poppy, I mean that the definition of the stitch is very pronounced, and it's almost to the point of being overly pronounced. And you can tell that because when a stitch becomes overly pronounced, it actually loses part of its length because the thread is pulling so tight against the material. So here we've got a very good looking lock stitch top row for that straight stitch. But if we compare it to the top stitch on the other side of the material, I'll wait for the camera to zoom in and to, come on. There we go. All right, come on, zoom in on it now. There we go. Hold on a second. It'll eventually focus. It just takes it thinks it's Saturday or something like that. Keep telling it that it's Monday so it doesn't get lazy. There we go. There we go. Thank you. So as we look at that top stitch line right there with the straight stitch right in the very top, all in all, it's pretty good. All in all, it's borderline page 34. But there are certain points where it loses a little bit of its definition. The stitch doesn't have the clarity that the lock stitch does on the back side. What that tells us is that the bobbin case down below that's pulling down for all its might, it's pulling down for all its might to try to give us a nicely defined top stitch, is being overpowered by the upper tension that is pulling up. So the bobbin case pulls down. The bobbin case pulls down to define the top stitch. The upper tension pulls up to define the lock stitch. And right now we're getting a lock stitch that is considerably more defined than its counterpart of the top stitch. And so what I did at that point when we did the first stitch line is I made a decision to back off that upper tension just slightly so that it wasn't pulling up as hard and it was giving more authority back to the bobbin case. The bobbin case was getting overpowered and it didn't have as much clarity of stitch here as it did here. And you can see pretty much through all of our sew-offs, the upper tension, even though I backed it off, I could have been even more aggressive about backing it off further because we never lost the clarity of stitch on the lock stitch back here. We never lost the clarity. In other words, I didn't turn the upper tension back so far that we all of a sudden would have a muddy looking lock stitch. The lock stitch had great clarity all throughout. And when it gets to this point where we already, if I showed you the upper tension right now, we're already below 4. We're already below 4 on the upper tension setting. And yet it's still giving us a beautifully well-defined lock stitch. The lock stitch again is going to come from that upper tension again. It's going to be that upper tension pulling up to give us this defined lock stitch. When we get to this pointer where we have to turn it all the way down to 4, we may be at a juncture where if we were going to be sewing a ton of this bubblegum material, what we might have to consider doing is taking out that bobbin case, kind of like we did on the first live stream where I lost internet connection and we went dead. And I was making adjustments to accommodate the embroidery thread that was down in the bobbin case. Remember that? And if you weren't there, you say, no, I don't remember it. I wasn't there. That's fine. You don't remember it. You can go back and watch that other live stream. But depending on the thread that is in the bobbin case, we may have to make certain fine adjustments on the bobbin case to accommodate that thread and or the material that we're sewing. So here we're getting a gorgeous lock stitch throughout, even though our upper tension is all the way down on 4. So what we might have to do in this instance to give more panache, as the French would say, to give more panache to our top stitching, is to go into that bobbin case and to turn it up just a little bit. And we would accomplish that by turning that screw that's on the right, like I showed you in the first live stream. We would turn that screw on the right, that's our adjusting screw on the bobbin case, just a little bit clockwise. And when you're making adjustments on the bobbin case, the reason most people get really nervous if I even suggest making adjustments to the bobbin case is a little bit goes a long way on the bobbin case. In other words, we're on the upper tension, this right here, we can make a bigger, more sweeping adjustment to get a better defined lock stitch, which we obviously don't need to do because we're already getting a gorgeous lock stitch set where we are. If we want to increase or enhance the appearance of that top stitch right here, and we make subtle adjustments to that upper tension, we turn it back, and we're still not getting the level of poppiness that we want on this bubblegum material. Which again, if you don't know it, bubblegum material is a tricky material because of the vinyl, just like the naugahyde, and just like some of the other materials that we sew. Because of that vinyl, it messes around with us big time. If we're not getting the result we want with the top stitch that we're looking at right now, then we can always go down to that bobbin case and turn it up just slightly, probably about a 0.5 millimeter, maybe a millimeter. And that's a little adjustment. And then right away, it will be giving a little bit of a steroid to that bobbin case by us turning it up just a little bit. And it will be able to give us the added clarity, the additional clarity of that top stitch that we might not be getting through adjusting this alone. So all of that blah, 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 I hope that answers our friend's question as far as what are you looking for? What do you need to do to get it? And how can we take away some of the muscle from a lock stitch like this that is absolutely gorgeous and brag-worthy, but it's overpowering. It's overpowering our top stitch right here. You know, there are some people that would look at this top stitch and say, it's not that bad, but if you look at it with a lot of scrutiny, you can all of a sudden say, yeah. I see it. I see what you're saying, Scott. I see what you're saying. It's okay, but it could be better. And we have in our family at Cow Country, we have something called Kanai. Does anyone want to type into the live chat what Kanai is? And that is our commitment to always trying to step it up. We always want to make it better. So even if we get a stitch like this, that all in all, this is our top stitch. All in all, it's not a bad top stitch. We shouldn't be ashamed of it. It's not like someone that we should put in a corner and try to ignore them. It's a decent looking top stitch, but we can make it better. Try to show it to you this way. We don't want to make this top stitch self-conscious We don't want to make this top stitch self-conscious. And all of a sudden it's like, I don't want to come to family gatherings anymore. I do not want to come to family gatherings anymore because Scott is always criticizing me. He's always saying it could be better. He always wants me to be better. Yeah, I do. Because even though you're pretty doggone good looking, right there. We're looking at you. We're saying, yeah, you're a pretty sexy looking top stitch. You are a pretty sexy looking top stitch all the way across. You can always be better. And that is our commitment to constant and never ending improvement. Kanai. Constant and never ending improvement. Good looking top stitch. You're good looking. We're not ashamed of you as a family member. We're not at all. But you can be better. And we got to take some away from the lock stitch to do that. Okay, enough of that. I can ramble all day long. I'm sorry. I'm a rambler. So let's wrap up this live stream with what we accomplished mostly on camera, but also off camera as well. And also a quick little bow to this Schmetz needle that never, ever gave up on us. The Schmetz needle never gave up on us. So kudos to Schmetz. So we kind of started this parade goofing around. Again, a great project to do with your grandkids. You can load in your bobbin some of this fun embroidery thread that's multicolored. Load some of this in your bobbin. Okay? You might have to make some adjustments on tension for your bobbin to get the result that you want, but that's okay. And then you can do something fun like this with the grandkids or your neighbor's kids or a stranger that wanders into your home or whatever you want to do. You can just do it. And the beauty of this, when you sew it like this, going through the machine, is you get that really pretty thread on top, that colored thread, and you can immediately frame it. You can throw it up on the wall and you can give acknowledgement to that young person that tried sewing maybe for the first time. And they can be proud of this being displayed and showing their work. Just like we would put something up on the refrigerator. If a kid gets a good mark or something like that, we want to recognize it. And we can do something fun like this with the kiddos to get them excited about playing on the sewing machine and eventually doing something very purposeful on the sewing machine. You never know, right? So I'm going to throw that to the side. That's one of the ones that we did. We did this one, which was really a hoot. This huge sew off on this saddle grade leather. Beautiful results there as well. We did this because you never know when you might need to tow a car. This is actually kind of a strapping type material that's used to tow cars. Each layer is worth 2,000 pounds of towing capacity. So we went through 2 layers of this with Michelle's machine, 4,000 pounds of towing capacity, no problem at all, and got some great stitching out of it as well. We did this canvas binding tape. We got a little bit adventurous and we tried to do 3 layers of it to start. It was too much. We were getting skip stitching. We tried a couple different changes. Then we finally backed it down to 2 layers, which is that's still a lot of canvas binding tape. And we got a beautiful, beautiful zigzag. Oh, both sides. Yeah. This was off camera when I was first getting done with all the adjustments on the machine. Had some goofy stuff going on. Finally got it the way I wanted it down here with this 100% cotton and stiffener. Yeah. There's some of my multicolored thread. See that? I do play sometimes in the workshop. I do. So if you get bored with white on white, you can always do something like this with that embroidery thread down in the bobbin case. Yeah. Makes me want to get like Neapolitan ice cream or something like that all of a sudden. Yeah. Fun. It's always good to have fun. 2 layers of saddle grade leather. Beautiful stitching. Again, about probably 8 to 10 ounces of leather. More saddle grade. Single layer. All on this needle, folks. All on this Schmetz needle. More of the cotton with stiffener. This was after I got all the adjustments done, and she was just stitching up a storm with 100% cotton and stiffener. I had to twist my arm around there. Yeah. Denim that has all this leather molting stuff on it, which is kind of scary. All right. So this denim I did as well. Only 2 layers of this when I was getting near the end of getting the machine all done. 2 layers of denim. Then we decided during this live stream, 2 layers of denim is kind of wimpy. And Candido said, no fear. So then we stepped it all the way up to 4 layers of heavy grade denim. And not only heavy grade denim, but this is that nasty stretch denim that has vinyl in it. And we laid down a gorgeous zigzag and a top stitch, straight stitch as well. This is 4 layers of that vinyl-based denim. I'll just call it vinyl-based denim. Beautiful job as well. We did some of this elk hide, only a single layer of it. And the elk hide, the machine did a beautiful job with this Schmetz needle of laying down a beautiful zigzag and a straight stitch. Also a good-looking top stitch, or a good-looking lock stitch, excuse me, which we could barely see because of how this elk hide needs a haircut. If we have anyone in the audience that knows how to give haircuts, stop by. The elk hide needs a haircut badly. All right. Then we did, and these are not in exact order. They're not in exact order. Then we did 2 layers of this elk hide to the toe of that thickness right there. 2 layers of this, laid down a beautiful zigzag and a straight stitch on this as well. Yeah, haircut needed, but you can see the thickness of what we went through. All right. Then what did we do? We did some protected full grain leather, basic straight stitch, zigzag. And again, I love this nap. It's so flat. You can see the lock stitch without any difficulty usually at all, depending on the angle. There we go. All right. So protected full grain leather as well. Bubblegum material. Gotta love this bubblegum material. And the bubblegum material, again, is a vinyl based type material, real stretchy stuff. And so there may have to be some adjustments you have to make as you're going between the top stitch and also the lock stitch. Some fine adjustments on the tension to get it just right. But again, it's good to challenge the machine so you know that it can handle a wide field of materials like this and do them beautifully. We did this Naugahyde, the naughty Naugahyde, which still even now, even after I scolded the Naugahyde, look at it. It will not lay down like good leather. It has to curl up to say, look at me, look at me, look at me. Why can't you be good? Well, you know, Mama and Dad and we're working with you to try to be good, and you won't be good. You just always have to curl like this. But you can see we had great success even on this tricky Naugahyde material of laying down a beautiful straight stitch and also a zigzag as well, when and if the camera decides it wants to focus. Come on, you can do it. There we go. So if you've never tried Naugahyde before and you want a challenge, get some Naugahyde, give it a go. That's our lock stitch right there, which you can kind of sort of see. There it is. Then we did some more of the saddle grade leather, 2 layers of it. Definitely not a light sew off. Definitely not for the faint of heart. And we laid down a beautiful zigzag for the top stitch and the lock stitch as well. And then last but not least, really, Robin, who's a dear part of our family, even though I didn't have it ready, said, what about something real slippery? What about something real slick like snot or a baby's bottom? Why don't we do silk or satin? So I came across this satin that was in the form of a pillowcase, and I used my really cool new scissors and I cut it. and we sewed these two super thin layers. Let me shut off that light. We sewed off on these two super thin layers of satin and laid down a beautiful modified type zigzag. And the camera is saying, I do not want to focus on that. I don't want to focus on that. I'm tired. I've been working through 2 live streams. There we go. So Robin issued a challenge or an opportunity for us. There's our lock stitch. And Michelle's machine said, no worries, we got this. And laid down beautiful stitching on this satin as well. So why do I show this all to you? Why do I show this to you? So you can realize when you visit other places on Facebook, on Pinterest, Etsy, wherever it is, and you see people demonstrating machines and they say, this machine is all set to go. And we're selling this machine and it will meet all of your needs. If they haven't gone to the extent of I call it the sewing Olympics. If they haven't gone to the sewing Olympics and done a wide field of sew-offs like this, like we did, and I even left this one out. If they haven't gone through a wide field of sew-offs and really, really put that machine to the test, then they haven't done their job. And they've done a disservice to that potential customer that buys the machine from them, because while they sewed cotton and maybe denim and maybe some other core materials, maybe that customer sews a lot of Naugahyde. I have no idea why they'd want to, but maybe they do. Or maybe they sew a ton of bubblegum material, or who knows what. We want to give that machine every opportunity to strut its stuff in a live stream and in a video, so that anyone that watches that live stream or video can say, I had no idea that that machine could do that, but I saw it on Cow Country's channel and they didn't show it in still shots. They showed it in a live stream video. They showed it in a live stream where you can't edit it. You can't fake it till you make it. It does what it's going to do. And that's why Swedish beauties are so adored. That's why they're so loved, because they never let you down if they're set up for success. And that's why I spent 14 hours on this machine for Michelle to say, I want to set you up for success. I want to give you a machine that doesn't give you a headache, doesn't give you frustration, but gives you joy and excitement every time you sit down to her. So Michelle, congratulations on acquiring this machine locally from a gentleman that really didn't know much about it. But you had enough smarts to say, I heard about this guy in Oconto, and we're going to bring it to him so that it's near perfect and it does everything we want it to do. So there you go. With that, I'll say thanks to the leadership team. Thank you to Schmetz for making a great needle that didn't give up on us. And also for making another needle that we're going to circle back to and give these double-eyed needles another try. I'll do a lot of off-camera work with them, see what really makes them happy, and then be able to showcase these double-eye needles at a future live stream. Yeah, at a future live stream. And this isn't the last you'll see these shears either. By Gutenheim. Gutenheim, yeah. I love these. These are great scissors. And maybe we'll give some away. You never know. All right. Take care, everybody. I'll put on a little bit of a countdown, a little bit of music. Who knows? And y'all have a great rest of your Saturday. Thanks again to everybody that persevered. If you got cut off during the first live stream and you circle back, kudos to you. Kudos to you, and thank you for your loyalty. All right. What kind of music can we end this with? I hadn't read this. Robin sent me a text as well. Hi, Scott. So did you have a prophetic moment there, seeing the internet was going to go down? Are you going to try tubing again today? Oh, this is an earlier message. This is an earlier message from Robin when the internet went out during the first live stream. And I had just got done saying we had internet issues because of the storms and everything moving through this area. And then right after I said that, boom, the internet goes down. So Robin thinks I'm a prophet now. I'm not, dear. No, I'm not. All the prophets did their thing back in biblical times, and there's nothing to be added to the good Bible. There's nothing to be added or taken away. Yeah, that's actually a real naughty thing to do. So anyway, no, I wasn't prophetic, but the timing was sure cool, wasn't it? Yeah, the timing was cool. All right. Last comment. Was there another comment? Okay, yeah, I already addressed Brutus 888's comment. So I'm all caught up. How unusual for me, how utterly unusual that I'm actually caught up. So I'm going to put on a little bit more music. I think our microphone will pick it up, and then I will move into a dramatic countdown right after that. And again, thank you to everybody for being a part of this live stream today, part 2. Thank you to the owner for the opportunity of having this great 1963 machine, which is older than me, haha. And all of you that are part of our family. We treasure each and every one of you. We always get excited when new family members join the family, as we had during this live stream today. And thank you so much to the leadership team for taking such great care of the family as I'm focused over here and you are a part of that live chat. I couldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it with all of the leadership team taking such great care of the family. So with that, I'm going to put on some Christmas music. It's not December. I know that. I'm looking at my calendar. It says April 1st, but the April Fool's joke on you is that it is Christmas and you overslept. And that's why I'm playing Christmas music. So wake up, wake up, wake up, enjoy the Christmas music, and then I'll put down a countdown and then we'll be done. And if you need to step away, no worries. Christmas music coming your way. I love my Guggenheim or Gooby Bears or whatever that new scissors is called. Yeah, I better get it right. They're advertising. Guggenheim. Kind of like, almost like Guten Morgan or something like that. Guggenheim. Yeah. Great scissors. Great scissors. Oh my gosh. I don't like this song. It's too hard to hear it. Hold on a second. Let's get some better Christmas music. Come on, come on. No, not a commercial. No, not even for Starbucks. No, don't do it. Yes, go back. Yes, there we go. So off sandwich. Fast
away the old year passes, la 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 la. Hail the new year, lads and lasses, la 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 la. Sing we joyous all together, la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, la 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 la.
Now you won't oversleep the next time. See, you almost missed Christmas.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, la 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 la.
Oh, I was going to show you one more thing. La 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 la. Yeah, la 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 la. I want to show you one more thing real quick. And if you persevered, then you get to see something that everyone else is going to miss. And I'm not going to try to disconnect this. So this is a machine that actually came in the workshop. It belongs to Mary Schmetz. It belongs to Mary. Let's just stick with Mary. It belongs to Mary. And when she dropped the other 3 machines, she dropped off 4, including this one. She said, I really don't need this one. And to offset my cost of your work on the other 3 machines, if you would be willing to service this, I'll pay you to service it. And then would you present it to your audience and offer it for sale and then give those proceeds back to me? I said, absolutely. Plus, it's in a really cool Singer Bentwood case. And what this is, and the reason I said you haven't seen it on this channel before, it's not just a Class 66, but it is a, oops, I'm going to disconnect this. It is, there we go. Now I got a little bit more cord. It's a 66K, and it is a really, really cool 66K from where's my cheat note? 1935? Yeah, it's from 1935. And it's got an original Singer hand crank. You can see that right over here. That's when they actually made this little part out of wood. And it's from the Y series, Y9808489. If you look it up, you'll find out, like I did, there it is. You'll find out that it was from a production group size of 25,000, and it was born March 14th, 1935, which means this year in March, oh, we're already past March 14th. Duh. Okay, so it just turned 88 years old. Does it look like it's 88 years old? I don't think so. Sorry, this is going to go up for sale. So if anyone has been saying, oh my gosh, I would love to get an original 66K that was made over in the United Kingdom with an original hand crank so I could be off the grid, even if the power goes out, I can still sew, reach out to me, and I'll give you an opportunity to take a swing at this machine before anybody else can get a hold of it. Yeah. And Mary will thank you, because then it will offset the cost that she is spending on the other three machines. This is, I'm almost tempted to keep this myself. It's a fabulous hand crank, again, from 1935. A Singer 66K. Yeah. All right. There you go. Now I've whet your appetite. Okay, now I'll do the official countdown to bring this to an end and to focus on this amazing Swedish beauty. Okay, official countdown. Where are we? Here we go. Countdown. Almost there. Hold on. Jiminy Crickets, 21 notifications on Facebook and 15 on Gmail. Someone's trying to get my attention. Yeah, they are. Okay, let's do the countdown officially now. Timer, 1 minute. And start. All right, well, thanks again to the moderating team. Thank you to all those that were in attendance today to check out this crazy amount of sew-offs that we did on Michelle's 1963 19E. Amazing machine. Yeah, amazing machine. All right, that's it. You got to go. If you've been waiting to go to the restroom, I apologize. Next time, go to the bathroom first, and then you won't be dancing. I just posted something like that on Facebook about that's how line dancing started, was ladies waiting to use the bathroom because there's always a line at the women's bathrooms. Why is that? That's just wrong. It's just wrong. Okay. Well, here we go. We're almost down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.